Then on the strand, with steeds and treasure, and armor their roomy and ring-dight ship was heavily laden. High its mast rose over Hrothgar's hoarded gems. A sword to the boat guard Beowulf gave, mounted with gold. On the mead bench, since he was better esteemed, that blade possessing heirloom old. Their ocean keel boarding, they drove through the deep, and Daneland left. A sea-cloth was set, a sail with ropes firm to the mast, the flood timbers moaned. Nor did wind over billows that wave-swimmer blow across from her course. The craft sped on, foam-necked it floated forth o'er the waves, keel firm-bound over briny currents, till they got them sight of the Geatish cliffs, home-known headlands. High the boat, stirred by winds, on the strand updrove. Helpful at haven the harbor guard stood, who long already for loved companions by the water had waited and watched afar. And with that music bringing us in, welcome everybody. It's a solemn moment. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Welcome everyone to a Tuesday. Welcome Arvanauts to a Tuesday. It's 12:10 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, February 6, 2024. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to day 3 of Beowulf, Age of Heroes with TariToons. It is the Hermit Sanctuary Part 2. And I am very excited to bring us back into this mix. It's going to be a good time, and we're going to see how this mystery gets solved. Part of it may get solved today, part of it may get solved next time. We will see how long and how efficient TariToons is with rune silt. But before we go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us here on the channel. If you have not done so already, please make sure to follow us here on the channel. That's one of the best things you can do. Another thing that's really great to do is if you are able to check out our YouTube, which is !ArvTube, and do that thing, which I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. Thank you, Effect Life, so much for the resub. I will talk more about that 34 months of support in just a moment. Thank you, Effect Life. I appreciate it. Hope all is well. But yes, wow, 34 months. That's crazy. It's almost 3 years. Amazing. Thank you, Effect Life, so much. So yes, so you can be over on my YouTube channel. And in fact, I can see right now that we have someone on the YouTube as we speak. So welcome, Salapianen. Hello from Finland. Well, thank you. It's good to see you. And hello from the US back to Finland. Actually, hello from the United States and Germany, which, no. Hello from the U.S. and from a German native, but a Netherlands resident, let me be clear. Hello from the U.S. and from the Netherlands back to Finland. And for anyone else who is watching us over on YouTube, welcome, and please consider joining us as well on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/arvanelloron, where there is also stuff going along. So yes, welcome. It is good to see you, and welcome to everybody on both Twitch and YouTube. Discord is !ArvCord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter is !ArvTweets, and Blue Sky, which has just come out of the official invite status, by the way. So there goes the neighborhood, I guess. Everyone can join Blue Sky, but you can join us over there. That is !ArvSky. Website, arvanelloron.com. Financially, !ArvShop is the merchandise area where you can get stuff for Shire Adventures, where you can get stuff for the Infinity and Beyond Eberron crew, where you can get standard Arvanelloron stuff, and soon you're you're going to be able to get Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks things as well. That also supports the channel and gets you cool swag, so please consider joining, getting on board with some swag there. Also, please support us on the Patreon. We're really trying to build that up. Exclamation point Arftreon. That Patreon really is the financial backbone of the channel, and it really does make a difference. And so any support people can give at that Patreon, you can get in unique stuff that you can't get just by subbing. And you can also, at the same time, support the channel. So those are good things. But speaking of subbing, Effect Life was kind enough to just do that. And you can also sub to the channel. Subbing gives you those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. The coveted 30-month badge that is being held right now by Effect Life. And actually, I think the next one up is... let me see. That's the 30 because you're in 34 months. At 36 months, Effect Life's going to get another quill upgrade. So, you know, the perks just keep coming. But you can do exactly what Effect Life did. Get those custom sub badges and emotes and also get inspirations to help our players if you support at a high enough tier. So please consider doing that. On the publishing, exclamation point Icarus is my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Exclamation point Library is my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. Please consider getting that. And please also consider exclamation point Greyshade, which is a link to my Grey Assassin trilogy. Those first two books, Greyshade and Renegade, award-winning books, are out now. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Tren Sparks, who is the other person playing in this Beowulf campaign. We'll see him in a couple of weeks. Tren is the person who did the narration for Greyshade, an incredible job on that, so you can get those right now. You can also pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade being done by Brandon O'Brien and Alligator Alley Entertainment. That'll be out late this year. And you can pre-order Heretic. I am head down in final manuscript work. I'm going to be sending that off within the next 7 to 10 days to my wonderful editor, Emily Bell, who will then be editing it and sending it back to me. So I'm almost done with the manuscript for Heretic, and that's going to be out in the summer of this year. Very excited about that. And you can pre-order that at that same exclamation point Greyshade link. And as always, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message that we will do so for others in this situation in the future. Now, just a couple of quick notes just about schedule. Today, we have got, of course, Beowulf going on right now, and we'll be running until a little bit after 3 p.m. Eastern. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, I will be over at GOGCom's Twitch channel with Pen and Pixels and Dredge. Very excited that I will be back into the Dredge world for that. Tomorrow, we have Community D&D gets its second session, which is very exciting. That is Waterdeep Dragon Heist with the Shadow Crew, so you're definitely going to want to stop by for that. And then Thursday night, February 8th, will be Dungeon Siege. Thank you for the follow over on my channel as well. I appreciate it. Welcome. Welcome to the same person, I'm pretty sure. Welcome, welcome. And so, yes, Thursday the 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern is more Dungeon Siege. Also, programming note, I will not be streaming over the weekend. I'm going to be up at Boscone in Boston. I'll be doing a couple of panels that are reading up there. I would love to see any or all of you in the Boston, United States area to stop by and say hi. But next week, we'll be back with Tari with some Fighting Fantasy Gamebook illustration, and then we're going to have some Ghosts of Saltmarsh, and then some more Dungeon Siege, and then some more D&D with INB. And so it's going to be good times, and you will not want to miss any of it, and it's just going to be just awesome. So you will not want to miss any of that. That is coming very, very soon. And actually, I just realized I may need to make one note, which is to do stream title. Yeah, I want to make sure that I don't forget to change the stream title for the Shadow Crew on Wednesday. But that is all coming up down the line, so I'm very excited about that. But I am super excited now about getting back into Beowulf. And so I'm going to unmute myself and let Tari know that we are ready to go. And then I'm going to unmute her. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over to reveal to you that is correct. We are back with Beowulf Age of Heroes, and we are back with Runesild. I am very excited to see what Runesild gets up to today. And of course, it's a great pleasure to welcome good friend TariToons back to the stream. Good to see you, Tari. How are you? How is life in the universe with you? And yeah, who are you playing today and all that good stuff?
Hello. Thanks for having me back. Hi, I'm TariToons. I am the sole regular player on this game. Because for those of you who are not aware yet, Beowulf is a duet game, as it is called. So it's just one game master and one player instead of like the usual party-based system. Instead, you get like a bunch of perma NPC companions called followers.
Yes, which I have a picture of. They are right. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Wait for it. There. Okay, there are the list. And the only ones that are not Runesilds are Ela and Peep. Everybody else
Yes.
are all of Runesild's followers.
Yes. All humans, as far as we know.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Uh,
Wait till we get the werewolf's bite, which
disguise.
is the next adventure. No, just kidding.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm sure Tren will hate that. Oh, he will be mad that will be my adventure and not his.
Right. No, his is the lycanthrope's love, and I'm not going to do it. You know, that's a whole different thing.
Oh, I see. So yeah. What else? Yeah, I guess I have an exciting announcement to make. Folks who follow me over on Tumblr, on my private blog, on my regular blog, not my art blog, will already know about this. Is that I have been writing my own tabletop RPG. It's currently called Beasties in My Bag, and it's basically a riff on stuff like Pokemon, Digimon, and Ni no Kuni. Yeah, it's getting very close to playtesting time. As Greg here has already told me, is that I'm going to be able to showcase this game here on the channel once.
I'm excited. Also, and I've been told,
yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, Tari, I've been told that
yes.
I am expected to play in the Beasties in a Bag game. So I choose you, by which I mean whatever creature I'm supposed to get. So
you make your own in the game. That's a fun part.
I make my own beast?
I mean, you can play a pre-made one, but it's designed around playing whatever kind of beast you like. Like everything, like it's unlike something like D&D, it's mainly inspired by mutants and masterminds. For those who are familiar with that, so everything is like point buy, and there are no classes. Instead, you basically buy different modifiers for everything to build your own abilities and stuff like that. And also, instead of playing one character, you play two characters in this game. You play one human and one beast.
Oh, okay.
Who together make a team, and they have like different things that they can do.
That's awesome. Well, because I'm super imaginative, I will call myself Ash, and my character is an electric creature called Pikachu. No, I just want to see. I want Tren to yell demonetized at me. Is what I want. So
you could play Fifi.
You could play Fifi.
That would be fun. A little Firebird.
Oh, the Firebird. Oh, that's true. I could play Fifi because that also Phoenix is my favorite mythical creature, so I could also do that.
Right.
Oh yeah, see that feels like, and then I would just constantly be like branding. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, I don't even know why that even occurred to me. Yeah, branding all the time. Effect Life wants to know if you have a link to that particular Tumblr post.
Oh, it's just like a bunch of me stuff rambling about various silly things on my blog. The blog is called. I'm just gonna put the name of the blog. Oh, wait, I'm just gonna grab the tag. I think that's the easiest bit to do.
And I want to note, chat, that whenever you refer to this, you need to refer to it. You've heard of a TTRPG. You mean a TariToons RPG. It works. I'm the messenger. I report, you decide. Yeah, buddy, let's go.
Oh, that hurts.
TariToons RPG.
Fucking hurts. My God.
Good times, good times.
Okay, here is a link for the tag. Like, I haven't revealed anything super exciting yet. It's just like mentioning, hey, I've been working on this. Here's some silly stuff that a spell check has been wanting to do while I'm typing this. That kind of stuff. I'm sure you can relate, Greg, right?
Yeah,
when
I know.
Spellcheck wants to make interesting things happen to the things you write.
It's a whole sea of red underlines on every proper name. It's like, you realize that's not a real name. Shut up, I write fantasy, all right? Do what I tell you.
So far, the spell checker has been trying to make the game about boobs and herpes. It's not exactly what I had intended.
It's a very different kind of RPG.
Sure.
Different kind of role-playing
sure.
game. No, I am excited for it.
What was that one game called again? That really infamous one, like the super dark, edgy one. Was that Fatal?
I don't know that I know.
Was it Fatal? Oh, yeah. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if you wouldn't know. That one is like really, like, you know, the for D&D's 3.5, you know, or third edition, I'm not sure. The Book of Vile Darkness.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, take that and multiply that by 100 and make that a whole tabletop RPG system. It's
I see.
Not exactly the most tasteful thing.
Okay. So it makes like some of Free League's darker stuff look like kid stuff. Then I assume like it's very you know. Okay, got it. Yeah, that will not feature on the channel.
Like edgy teenager wrote this.
Yeah, well, okay, right, I gotcha. Yeah, no, that will not feature in the channel, but this will definitely. I'm excited for it. I also, I mean, first of all, I would be excited. It sounds like a really cool like concept. Also, happy to help Tari in any way I can. Secondarily, and third of all, anytime you get a gifted artist who gets involved in their own game. In fact, Beowulf itself is largely designed by a person who's also an artist. It almost always tends to work. Like I predict what will happen is this will be very successful. And then Tari will be like, maybe I should run a Kickstarter for it and all this stuff. And people will be like, oh, it's so cute. Here, take my money. Like that. This is what I predict will be the sort of, that'll be the line of development. So I am excited to see it when it is here. So yes.
So yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen here on the channel. Like I'm first going to do a test game in person. And I think then I might roll out like a beta version, a playtest version for like on Drive-Thru RPG or something.
Yep.
And beyond that, I don't know yet. I'm not a marketing person. I'm not a money person. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm just drawing cute little monsters and throwing some numbers at them.
That's why it's going to work. It's going to be exciting. I am very excited.
Also, for fans of the channel, a lot of the beasts are based on various creatures I have designed during the gamebook illustration streams.
Oh, nice.
So yes.
Nice. Speaking of which, we will have you for that next week, doing our first new book of the which is Battle Blade Warrior, which involves lizard men fighting on pterodactyls. So I mean, I don't see how that can fail. That's got to work really well.
Effect Life wants to know to design that I can then incorporate into the game.
Yes, exactly. Effect Life wants to know if it would fit for Roll20 integration.
In theory, the problem is just that I don't know programming, so I don't know how to put together character sheets and stuff.
Gee, I wonder.
I tried to look into that for things.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, I wonder if there's anyone, Effect Life, who would know anything about programming. I'm just wondering if there's anyone who we know that might, your thoughts. Effect Life. It's really unfair. It's really just online bullying in another form. It's as I always tell people, I said this to Tari too, like if you would just be lousy at your job, then people won't ask you for stuff. Like just suck as a cartoonist and they won't ask you for cartoons. And like Effect Life, just suck at programming and like development and you'll just not do it, it's a possibility. I promise I'm not actually strong arming you into it. I'm just saying, you've been publicly called out. Anyway,
though I would be running the game here, not through Roll20, but through Owlbear Rodeo, because it's just so much easier for me.
Okay, well that's fine. But either way, if he's able to do integration later on, though, that would obviously be a nice thing for further expansion and development and
absolutely
of the game. But very cool. I am very excited for when that game comes out. And have you said who you're playing today yet? Or not? I think we were maybe just doing
I am playing wow, I've been like so much into game writing lately that like my brain is like completely shifted to that space right now, and I have not been thinking about this character for a while. So yeah, I am playing a warrior named Runsild, who is from the kingdom of Xanten at the Lower Rhine, who is a very jackass type character. Here to have a good time and possibly break a few bones, might include her own, not sure. Yeah, and also she has 5 followers who I'm not going to reintroduce all by themselves. You see them on screen. They all have different personalities, and yeah, I hope you will get to know them through play. Actually, that would be way better, I think.
That
Probably.
makes sense. So then let us do that. And let's talk a little bit about, let's see. And Faro Temu1 also complimenting you on the horns, by the way, on your headset. So, passing that along. Are we going to do more D&D games from Middle-earth? Well, we ran for years a Middle-earth Adventures of Middle-earth campaign that actually 2 separate really campaigns, and then we ran Shire Adventures for a year. So Tari and I are both, but I mean I teach Tolkien and favorite author and hugely influential. So yes, I love doing that. And in the future, I know that Free League this year is coming out with the E5e a Moria campaign, and all in like Khazad Dûm and all that stuff. So it's not going to happen immediately because right now I am at like max load in terms of tabletop games that I can run. I already run 5 games a month, which is really, frankly, a little bit overload. So, but in the future, yes, there's no question that I'll be doing that. And I do want to encourage you. There is a Shire Adventures podcast, which is still running because the audio lags behind the video. And all of those campaigns, Adventures of Middle-earth, all those campaigns, which lasted for years, and Shire Adventures is all up on my YouTube channel. So if you go over there, you can find that as well. Free League actually sponsored the Shire Adventures campaign, and I may come back to them in the future for something else. So yes, I think you can expect to see more Lord of the Rings role play stuff on this channel, but it's not going to be this year, and I don't know exactly when in the future, but I will absolutely circle back to it at some point, because I love that stuff. So yes, for sure. Okay.
Also, I still want to play a certain character concept that I came up with years ago and never got to play because I was playing Inge all the time. And then it was like, nope, now we are all hobbits, which I love, of course. But like I always wanted to, always. Since I read the Silmarillion, I've been meaning to try playing Isolde.
Ooh, nice. Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm lucky too that I have a base of like Tolkien player / nuts that would all be about it. So for sure, you'll see more of that.
Nuts, as you say, like hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts, exactly. The power of Nutella. My daughter loves Nutella. It's like a huge. I see. I've always been kind of lukewarm about it myself, but man, does she love that. Anyway, all right, let's get into the thing. So, in our last session, Runsild traveled across the sea, and I should say, actually, excuse me, it's important. I need to have the poem. Wait, bear with me, just a moment. Hold on a second.
Fun fact: in Dutch, OE, like in poem, is pronounced as an oo, so it's poem. If you would pronounce this in Dutch.
Which one? Oh, okay. Oh, you love watching them, and you're also a huge fan of Tolkien, but you wait. Oh, nice. Yeah, and I am glad to hear that. And yeah, this sort of is in that same, I don't know, it's scratching a similar, although not identical itch, I think I would say. But yeah,
You are dwarves.
Say again?
Fewer dwarves, fewer hobbits.
Fewer dwarves, fewer hobbits, yes, exactly. And a lot more monsters.
Everybody go watch Dungeon Meshi in the meantime, if you aren't doing that already. Delicious in Dungeon is the English name, I think, on Netflix.
Delicious in
Dungeon. Go watch that.
I also heard there's a new one
very
called...
Fun.
There's a Netflix show called Forged in Fire, which is basically where people make swords in competition, and I didn't know that existed. But I was like, that's
fun.
Also pretty cool. Okay, let's get to this. And I realized that I had not done the thing that I'm supposed to do at the beginning of every one of these sessions. So chat, make sure you have your your headphones and everything turned up. Listen! A far-flung isle, there mist-mantled rune deep, surrounded by the whale's way, a speck of footfall firmly set. Upon a blue bright shield, a stone boss boldly sits, battle-battered by billow maidens, ancient bearer of grave and grove. Home of bristle-backed boar, racked by wild winds keening, gulls wheeling screech its scopes, baleful-beaked eagles unlock their word-hoard. Bitter brine, not balming beer, is lapped by that weird-wrought isle. Once a holy held place, a blessing not bane to honest kin, in a hearth or deep-dwelled slaughter, its leavings glut the gray-cloaked wolf, gorges the black raven's bent beak, feast-giver for Woden's greedy birds. Moon-bleached, snow-skinned, shield-breaker, blood-drinker, a pale scabbard for a sword host of battle, bold warriors. Hardened hearth troop wreak their craft, but the lights sing, but do not sever. Blood embers swing, harmless their hewing, no war sweat stricken from war needles striking, forge fired, handiwork of smiths have no power present there. Weird unraveled, blades bite dulled, fates weave woe in warp and weft. So, that got your attention, T-Bag? Everyone's like, oh, like, that's what you do. It is about listen. So, in our last session, Runesild went on a bit of an adventure. She had heard this song this poem that I've just regaled you all with, and she had heard that there was this island which had been racked by the depredations of something. People had been dying, had been leaving this island, and despite the fact that there was supposedly a place of sanctuary there that was popularly known as the Hermit's Sanctuary. And so Runesild, having gotten prophecies given to her in part by Rickmod, the strange, mysterious, and ancient wise woman who accompanies her, Runesild, with a laugh and a hearty slap on the back to her followers, set off upon the sea, and over the billowing waves traveled until managing to, after dealing with a little bit of issue with gray sky and electrified clouds and things like that, managed to make her way to the Isle of the Hermits. Once there, or the Hermit, singular, I should say. Once there, Runesild discovered a couple of things. First of all, the Hermit's Hall. And inside the Hermit's Hall, she found people that were, if not hostile, not particularly open and friendly. In fact, they seemed racked by uncertainty and by fear. And after she had had a chance to meet Egbert, who's the hermit, who thanked her for coming to their aid, but who seemed to wander quite a bit, who would speak to her and then would kind of drift off, thinking of other things. Runesild then decided it made sense to walk around and start talking to some of the other people who were there. We met, in addition to Egbert the Hermit, and some of these people are people that Runesild has not yet spoken to be clear. But we met Elfnoth, the Provisioner. This is a tall, thin man who wears sort of like a sort of pointed leather cap, and who spoke about how good it is to see people here at last. But Runesild has not had a chance to speak in detail to Elfnoth. She met Caro, the housekeeper, who had the chance to talk a little bit about some of the issues on the island, and also discussed the concern with her boy, the boy Edgar, who was the one that originally had brought Runesild to the hermit's hut. Speaking of the boy...
It's your boy, Edgar.
It's your boy. Speaking of your boy, Edgar also, when she first met him, was sort of halting in his speech and had difficulty kind of, was a child of very few words, until, that is, she began to ask him about the caves that he had investigated, leading to these mysterious disappearances, at which point his language and his speech became very smooth and articulate, and he spoke with great detail and passion and interest about these caves that he had explored, and had already offered to take her to one of those caves in the morning, to which I believe Runesild had said she would approve. So she had spoken spoken to them. And the last one in the hall, a man named Frithgar the Builder, who is burly and gruff and has said very little. So Runesild, if I'm correct about this, but Tari can correct me if I'm not, Runesild has spoken to Egbert, at least the first time, has spoken to Caro, the housekeeper, has spoken to the boy Edgar, and has agreed to go with the boy to investigate these caves in the morning. I don't believe, though, that you've spoken to either Frithgar the Builder or Elfnoth the Provisioner, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you did, but...
I don't know either. I didn't write down whom I talked to. I remember that I did speak to Keanu. And basically the gist was, yeah, Egbert is not really at the top of his game anymore. Things are a bit difficult currently. Like, basically what Runesild was trying to do was to figure out who is, like, actually in charge currently, since Egbert is a bit out of commission.
Right. And the impression that you had gotten about that, by the way, was that Elfnoth sort of seems the logical choice, because Elfnoth seems to know a little bit about what's going on. I'm just going to switch over to this map here of the Hermit's Hall. There we go.
By the way,
there we go. Yes.
Before we continue, the inspiration, does that one carry over from session to session, or
yes.
do we get a different?
Yes, that inspiration covers over.
Reading every time.
Yep. No, that carries over
so
because that's based on prophecy.
One GM inspiration and one follower inspiration.
You actually have one. Wait a second. Let me make sure I get this right. No, you actually have one follower inspiration and 2 GM inspiration. Is what you've got.
Are you sure about that?
Yep. I'm pretty sure that you ended up using one of your inspirations, by the way, at some point in the session, if I'm not mistaken. You should feel glad that in Tari's game right now, the GM has 4 inspiration, and there are 0 Fire Hero followers.
But
right, your followers do, though.
I know that, like on Trent's session, you got like 1 billion
Yep.
inspiration, GM inspiration. That happened. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay, here we are in the round town. Totally not Hrothgar. Hrothgar is the king. Herod was the hall.
Not at all Hrothgar. Yeah, I'm a...
No, not at all.
I literally just finished teaching Beowulf and Grendel last week. And so Beowulf and then the book Grendel. And so, yeah, we talked quite a bit about Hrothgar. And for those of you who want to know what Hrothgar might look like in film version without having to go to Beowulf to check it out, may I suggest you look at the, in quotes, exorcism scene in the Two Towers film, where Gandalf comes to Edoras and frees Theoden from Saruman's control, which is a little more exorcist than it is in the book, but it gives you a bang-up job at looking exactly how I think Hrothgar would have looked, since, you know, Tolkien was just slightly influenced by Beowulf, just a smidge, just a touch.
Tiny bit.
So anyway, so that's what we've got, Runesild. You you have had a chance to speak to Edgar, and you've gotten Edgar's agreement to bring you to the caves. You've spoken to Caro, as we said. You have not yet. Now, you don't have to, but I think you had said you might want to follow up with Frithgar and with Elfnoth. So it's up to you.
Did I try to speak to Egbert yet?
You did. When you first were brought, you did speak to Egbert. You could theoretically take another run at him because he was the one that the boy led you to, and then was kind of like, all right, you can talk to other people. So you could come back around to Egbert at some point if you wish. Kearno, you pretty much have gotten what you feel like you can. Same with Edgar, but the other 3 are possibilities.
So remind me, what was like the thing that was going on this island besides the weird purple and green light? Or was it just around the island?
There are people disappearing. You may remember, in fact, Caro told you that there were some people who had come, a couple of visitors who had come to speak to Egbert, and then ended up disappearing, and that's happened a few times. She herself had brought her boy Edgar here, hoping for a new life and to try to kind of escape some of the issues that she had faced in the old land, and yet she's found a place that seems increasingly dangerous and destitute that people are abandoning, and there are not all that many people left on the island, in fact, and it feels like Egbert is, in her view, failing. So that is what she basically told you. So not only is his sort of leadership failing, but there's something, it could be a monster, could be something else. I think Runesild believes it is a monster, but something is killing people that are disappearing, and there's a lot of bones and blood showing up where there used to be people. So
I see. Okay, yeah, I guess I want to go talk to Friska then. Just shimmy over to him.
Okay. So he stands there and looks very much, and I think I think you can see that picture right there, but I will blow it up for the benefit of chat for just a minute. So here, put that over there so people can see it.
That was very big suddenly.
That's actual size. No, I'm just kidding. He towers above the hall. I'm not the monster. No.
Giant.
So Frithgar is very sort of...
Except the guy in the blood red drenched token.
I know, right? He has a thatch of thick black hair, full bushy beard. You can see that he's wearing this kind of leather apron, and his belt is hung with all kinds of tools and pouches full of nails, and tucked through his belt he has what looks like a piece of wood, like a almost like a straight, it's not a 2x4, it's smaller than that, but it's a, like probably 6-inch long area of wood that is just tucked into his belt, and he is obviously large and powerfully built. And when you come up, he just sort of nods at you and doesn't say anything.
So, do you know anything about any of the people vanishing here?
Oh, yeah. Tara, you froze up a lot. You've been freezing a bit. Do you want to try to disconnect and rejoin just quickly?
Is there a delay or something?
Yeah, your video is frozen.
Godverdomme. Yes, I shall.
One moment, chat. You see me in both places. Hello? Is it me you're looking for? I am not, in fact, Runesild. I am just waiting for Runesild to reappear. So, bear with me. There we go.
Hello.
Okay, hello.
Guten Tag.
Hello.
Test. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Tralala.
Can hear you so far. So hopefully that will continue. Yeah, you were freezing up before.
Okay.
Let's see. What were we saying? Yes. We will. So we got. So Frithgar, you wanted to talk to. So yes. So Runesild, you had said to Frithgar, like, do you know anything about this? And he kind of just looks you up and down, and he says, "No, don't care to know much. Just life being life."
Surely you would care, considering that this is not exactly a big island. Not a lot of people living here. Probably makes a big difference when people, vanish.
Well, that's not my business. That's Egbert's business. He tends to the people on the island. I just build things to keep him safe, if I can.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I don't think any business is currently Egbert's business.
Egbert's a good man.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I just don't think he's like, all that present.
What are you trying to say?
That he's old?
And Frithgar glares at you. He's a good man.
Oh, no, I meant that he's very young and spry and in the blossom of his youth or whatever. She says with like really dripping sarcasm.
He glares even more. And you could, Rick Mod sort of is a little bit off in in behind you, kind of cackling occasionally. And he sort of stares at you. So he, he sort of pauses, and then he says, Egbert's the reason I'm here. And without him, we'd all be lost.
Right. So...
And he stares at you.
Did you know any of the people who vanished? At all?
I saw when they came. I saw when they left. Didn't know much about them.
You saw when they left?
When they left this place. Went outside the sanctuary. Thought it was risky.
So they didn't just, vanish overnight from their homes, but instead actually left and just didn't return?
I don't know about that. They left the place with the walls here. Once they left, I didn't know what would happen to them. I would have stayed inside the hall where it was safer. Or asked me to build them something. Inside safer than outside.
No doubt. But I bet it also gets pretty boring when you are still staying all the time inside.
And he just blinks at you.
Right, you are not the most chatty fella, are you?
And he kind of no. Now, I should say, by the way, Runesild, that you could try to figure a way to make him more you could try to make him more communicative through a variety of fashions based upon things you might find out about him or whatever else. But he's kind of well known for being this. If you were to look up taciturn in the dictionary and or terse, this is a man of few words. In fact,
what?
Taciturn, which basically means sort of dour, I'm Batman type of stuff. Doesn't talk much.
Swear to me.
Well, no, not like that. Not that version of Batman. Rachel. Yeah, no, that's not quite that. Yeah, curt, sort of 3 words when probably 5 sentences is required. 3 words is what you get.
I see. Actually, I don't think Ronsilla would care to humor this guy or try to make him talk further.
Okay.
Because he just doesn't seem like a fun guy to be around. So it's great talk, my man. And then I accidentally clicked out of the Roll20 tab. Not clicked out, actually accidentally clicked back. There we go.
That was a mistake.
Left the game there for a second.
Shouldn't have done that.
Shouldn't have done. Yeah, okay, their nameless one.
I could have built Roll20 for you.
You just exactly sounded like the nameless one from Planescape. Outstanding.
I'm gone.
I'm gone.
I'm gone. Oh man.
Updated my journal.
My journal. Oh man, Planescape.
Right. Did I talk to Ifnas already?
You mean the...
he just commented on a bunch of stuff, right?
Correct.
I didn't talk to him directly?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're talking about Elfnoth, right? The provisioner there?
Mm-hmm, the provisioner.
Yeah, you have not, as far as I know. And he is sort of standing next to the fire. I will reduce Frithgar here again and move him back to where he was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he is just standing by the fire. He's a tall, thin man with these piercing, beady gray eyes. and he has this long-eared Phrygian cap, under which he has these sort of like, you can see long wispy hair that's just sort of clinging on at the sides and the back. And as you look over in this sort of his direction, he kind of, smiles at you. Hello!
Well, you seem a lot more talkative than your friend over there. And she, points over to Frithgar.
Oh, Frithgar? Oh, he's harmless. Don't have to worry about him. He's a good man, but doesn't say much, when just a few more buildings would do. And he kind of lowers his voice. He says, he doesn't actually read, the poor fellow. He says the words just swim in front of his eyes. I guess you can't blame him then for not wanting to use words himself. I see you've had a chance to speak to some of the rest of us, including old Egbert over there. I hope you've gotten some information that you wanted.
Not in particular. No, people seem seem to be playing the cards close to their chest here, or just don't care.
Yes. Well,
extraordinarily weird.
Yeah, you have to understand that these people have been around each other for a long time. That's part of the issue, I think. Variety is the spice of life. Traveling from island to island, that's what I would like to do. But, they've been looking to me to help manage their stores, their stocks of food and so on. And so I have tried to do that and keep their spirits up when I can. But my goodness, poor Edgar and... and poor Caro, and obviously Egbert himself, and Frithgar, well, they're all nice people, but, well, they're not the greatest conversationalists, and so it's not always easy. It's nice to have someone new come in here for a change, although be careful, some of the new people that come in, well, they don't seem to get out.
Yeah, apparently. So you said you take care of food and stuff around these parts?
That's basically my job, yes. When food gets shipped in, I usually negotiate for it, and when that doesn't happen, because, well, to be honest with you, there's fewer and fewer ships coming these days. So my job then is to make sure that we can ration the stores and make sure we have exactly what we need when we need it. At least that's the purpose. How much that actually works in practice, well, you'd have to talk to them. But I try to do the best that I possibly can. And it's good to see you. I noticed the minute that you came in here, you seemed, well, just presentable, and you have your whole group of followers with you. And I mean, it's you must have an impressive ship that you came here on.
You sure like to talk, don't you?
Oh, well, I've got to make up for Frithgar over there.
Him, huh?
Yeah, I got to make up for him.
I see.
Frithgar just sort of, glowers at him from a few feet away.
Do have a ship. So do you just provide people who live within this ring of walls, or do you provide the entire island?
Oh, I help provide the entire island, but to be honest with you, there isn't a whole much out there that's living anyway beyond the walls of this place. I mean, there are a few things that you could probably track down if you were to go a little bit of a further distance, but there really isn't all that much. You've got the caves, of course, and there's the Ring of Stones and all that, but nothing really that you could really, a great hero like you might find sort of a waste of time. Edgar probably here is going to try to take you to the caves. That boy is obsessed with exploring caves.
Well, I doubt there's much else to do here. Not exactly the biggest island.
True. That's a good point. You make an excellent point. Right, you have real insight, I think.
Could use more of that. So do you know everybody then on the island, I wager?
Oh, absolutely. I know everybody that's here, and frankly, most of them are here. I used to know more of them, but well, some of them have been missing. We had a few people that visited and stopped by, and well, they didn't all make it. You might have heard about there was two pilgrims, these man and a woman who came to talk to Egbert. They seemed good people, and now the only thing Frithgar found the next day after they left this place was bloody bones. Well, I don't know about you. I was never much of a person for figuring out math concerns, but I can tell you that there were only bloody bones left. I know how to put together one bone and two bones, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, there was the second one, another pilgrim, who ended up going out and searching for her companion, and she got lost too. A lot of bones and blood on this island, I would say, which, of course, is not going to help anything as far as getting people to come here and give us food. That's made things very difficult.
Wait. Pilgrims? That would suggest that there's something to pilgrimage towards here. What
yes,
here that
and
pilgrimage to?
yes, and he points over to Egbert and he says, "Absolutely. Well, Egbert he's a holy man. There was a time when the stories about Egbert's holiness would cross a huge distance, but truthfully," and he kind of lowers his voice, "it's not been the same for Egbert for a while. He's lost a step, actually a few steps, if you know what I mean. A few steps short of a staircase."
Certainly. So he is the goal for people to pilgrimage to.
He is. He's a holy man, and he's been able to actually communicate a lot of those things to some of the people around here. Of course, there are other places that people used to go. The Ring of Stones. There's some people that say that the old gods spend time there, but well, I don't know. Depends. I don't want to get into religious matters, but I don't know that those stones really have anything to tell us except just stones. Can't eat stones. Not easily, anyway.
To be fair, in front of the house is a stone with words on it. That thing tells you stuff.
Well, that's been here for a long time, and so is Egbert. Things change, and times change as well, and opinions, people's views change also. You know how it is, can't stay in one place, gotta keep moving.
You said about a place full of hermits, that they can't stay in the same place and have to keep moving.
Well,
a little bit paradoxical, huh?
It's true. It's true, yes. I think the only way to solve that problem is to get more people to come here and maybe broaden out the island. I'm not in favor of turning this whole place into a series of shops and markets, but, well, I wouldn't mind getting the chance to spread the word about this holy place just a little bit, just to deal with some of the walls fall down a little bit. Frithgar does what he can, but he doesn't have many supplies. And you have supplies aboard your ship? Because we could certainly use those. I mean, or even stone from the tower, anything to try to shore this place up. We could use some of that, you know.
I'm afraid I left all the building supplies in my other ship.
That's unfortunate.
Did not plan to build a house or something, going out to sea. By the way, how late is it out of character?
It is evening, so probably 8 or 9 p.m., you would guess, right now.
Right, in that case, I think Hoensfield is at the point where she doesn't really think that she can get much more information out of these folks.
Okay.
Instead, she will try to be a good guest and regale folks with tales of adventures from back home. Maybe can she sing or play an instrument?
I don't know. You tell me.
Does have high charisma? I don't know if that's a thing actually in this game. Like getting like an instrument to play, unless you take the specific subclass.
Right. Or sometimes followers could theoretically do something depending on the nature of the follower. But I don't know that you have any follower who's into the whole playing instrument thing.
Also, I think only Rigmod and I think one other follower tagged along, but I don't remember whom's. Rigmod and...
I think it might have been one of the brothers. I think...
Brothers? The husbands.
I mean, sorry, not the brothers, husbands. One of the husbands. It could have been... It might have been Jasib, I want to say. I think you left
sure, let's
Aban
say it's
back on the ship, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I guess in that case she would encourage. Wait a second. Even Galip.
You should have brought Guy with you so that Guy could just like look at Frithgar and be like, "Roar,
oh yeah,
Frithgar, roar," you know.
Yeah, they would have like a very deep conversation.
Yes.
Without any words.
With like 2 words, yeah.
Would just nod at each other.
Yep.
But yeah, then she would encourage Imgalip to tell a few stories from back home, faraway lands of Al-Andalus.
Okay.
Which, for those who aren't aware, is what Spain or parts of Spain were called back in the day. When roughly the story takes place. So yeah, she would support that. Also.
Okay. So.
Maybe Rigmot will also want.
Okay, so let me just.
Ihre Internetverbindung ist instabil. Greg, can you hear me?
Yes, you froze up again for a second, but you're back.
Yeah. Oh, that might be because it's storming outside.
Could have something to do with it.
Test. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, you're okay right now.
At all?
You're okay right now. Yeah.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard me say?
I heard you say tales of, and then you started talking about something else, and then you froze.
Okay. No, like that. Even Galip would tell some stories from back home because he's a seasoned warrior, and maybe Rigmot has a story to tell, but that will probably just terrify the shit out of everybody. So let's see about that. And like also, she would try to entertain folks, maybe by singing a folk song or two.
Okay.
From back home.
So I think I would
keep
say,
everybody entertained.
I would say that as she does some of that, as she does some of that, and as Yasib, gives some of his stories, people settle in. I mean, Edgar is definitely interested. Caro seems a little bit interested because Edgar is interested. Frithgar never really reacts to anything. He just sort of, sits there. Egbert kind of rocks back and forth a little bit once in a while and kind of murmurs to himself, but you don't know how much he is or is not hearing. And then you've got, of course, Elfnoth, who is regarding you very seriously and closely as you speak. And you are probably, Runsild, coming to the end of your conversation, and the fire has sort of gotten low and people are kind of, beginning to nod off. When suddenly you hear a banging on the door, just like this clamor, and you hear this sort of like people like banging on the door, and a couple go over. I would say probably Frithgar strides over and opens up the door, and inside the door, or outside the door, I would say, you can see it is Aban, who is standing there along with Guy, and I guess so you brought Rigmod Jasib. So you don't see Genevieve with them, but you see Guy and Aban, and both of them are covered in dirt and scratches, and Guy looks to have blood on him. And Aban says, "Runsild, the ship's been attacked. Guy was hurt," and Guy kind of shakes his head like, "Fine." Like, Guy seems like he's not badly hurt, just sort of, a little bit. And Aban says, it was just a little while ago. We were here, and then there was a banging on the outside of the hull of the ship. The ship itself was rocked back and forth. At first I thought a storm had come in, but it was not that. And then I came above deck and saw one of the crew. They were held up in the hands of this thing, this giant, enormous beast with fur. It slammed his body down on the deck, and we heard a cracking, and not from the wood. And then he took it, and then Guy ran up and tried to stab it with a spear, and he kind of looks over at Guy, and Guy says, "Did nothing." That was right. There were others that threw javelins, and they bounced off his flesh like it was stone. And then he slapped Guy out of the way, and hit another one of the crew. They're all right, but little hurt. And then ran off, carrying the body of the one it had killed. And so he says all of this, and you hear sort of Rickmod's cackling has ceased. But in the background, the sort of hall is dead silent except for Egbert. You can hear is, prophecies will come. Prophecies someday.
Yeah, in that case. Runzel doesn't even hesitate and grabs all her stuff. Says to Rickmod, "You can stay here, we will be right back." And
Elfnoth calls after you and says, "It's not wise to go out right now, in the darkness. You're not going to be able to find anything, and you're as likely to get your other crew members killed. You should go looking tomorrow morning if I were you, and stay inside the walls, right, Frithgar?" And Frithgar sort of just gives one slow nod. So you can do what you like, Runzel.
But my crew is still out there.
Your crew's already dead, at least the one crew member, and as for the rest of them, they should come back here where it's safe.
That's what I was gonna do. Was gonna fetch them to get them inside these walls.
Oh, all right. Well, then, sure, then proceed, like he says, sort of hand-waving it. And Egbert says nothing. But you can see that Caro and Edgar are sort of staring at you with wide eyes. And Egbert is sort of staring off in the middle distance, muttering to himself. And I've already described what happened before. Frithgar actually steps forward and says, "Then come, make this quick." And he strides out into the darkness.
Yeah, she will quickly light a torch, lantern. She doesn't have a lantern. Yeah, she will quickly light a torch on the fire and then step out and hastily make her way down to the shore.
Down at the shore, you find a ship which is fair to say in a little bit of chaos. The thing is alive with torches. Crew members are out, all carrying torches. All of them are exceedingly nervous, all with spears, kind of staring around. In fact, even when you approach, they sort of, and the captain sort of steps forward. And I believe your ship name was the Otter, right? And the captain steps forward and says, "We've lost Ingvald. They just took his body." And you can see that the oar, this is one of the rowers as well. You can see the oar that he was using, which is a large, strong oar, has been snapped in two. And near the deck that, according to Aban, just hit the ground, you can see the deck is literally, there's a little crack in the top of the deck. Not the hull. The hull is all seaworthy, but the deck is cracked where the body must have hit.
Have people sort of calmed down by now? Because this must have been half an hour at least ago, right?
Yes, I wouldn't say that they're panicked, but they're very nervous.
Okay, good.
So yeah.
But are they in a position where Runzel would feel like they could be addressed as a
group?
Mm-hmm. Or
yes.
Is this too chaotic? Okay.
No.
In that case, she would climb onto a crate or onto the hull of the ship or something, and would go. What?
And they all immediately stare right at you.
And will tell everybody to not be afraid, that she's here now. We will take care of this. And basically organize everybody, split everybody into different task groups, one to collect all the stuff, to and tie the ship down. Then another group to treat to any of the wounded, and to make sure that everybody packs up everything, and so that we can leave in 30 minutes to go to the hall where we will all be in safety.
Now, when you say the hall, there is a lot of... So up to that point, everyone is yep, nodding. When you said the hall, there's a lot of grumbling. And one of them, who happens to be the oar mate, the person who was right next to Ingvald, who was taken, says, "I'm begging your pardon. Don't you mean leave this cursed island?" We're not going to be able to do anything against that beast, begging your pardon. And the others are like,
So, you say we should leave in the middle of the night without any light?
better than staying here and getting eaten one by one.
You won't be getting eaten, not while I'm here.
Well, you weren't here when Ingvold was taken, though.
Yes, but I'm here now.
And they kind of, like, the grumbling dies down, and one of them says, do you mean, a different one says, do you mean to take out this, to kill this beast tomorrow? Or whenever? You mean to find it and kill it?
Oh, that would be lovely, but I'm not sure I can find it tomorrow, but I'll certainly try.
But what if you don't find it? What if that thing, it broke the ore in two? It can break wherever you're staying. And Frithgar just sort of
maybe
stands there.
in that case I will set a nice little trap, but we'll worry about that after we've gotten everybody to safety. Now, everybody, get to work.
Okay, they kind of like nod, and then there's still a little bit of grumbling, but they basically go around and do things. And the captain walks up to you as they're all working, and voice lowered says, "Don't misunderstand them, Runesild. They're still loyal to you, but they're spooked, and I don't blame them. The thing came on so fast we didn't even know it was there, until the last second, just a shadow looming out of the darkness, and then it just seized Ingvold like it was a piece of wood, and broke it in half just like the ore when he slammed his body into the deck. The men will follow you for now, but I don't know how much longer they will unless you can do something about this thing."
You can tell me all about that once we are off the shore, all right?
So he nods and
we have work to do.
Yeah, so he nods and goes off to do said work. And within a few minutes, within good like 20, 25 minutes or so, you've gathered, they've gathered together what is needed. And they're ready to sort of head into the hall. And the captain says, "Are we just going to leave the ship here completely unguarded, though? That thing could come back and break it into flinders, and then we'd never get out." And there's kind of their unfortunate grumbling among the crew at the prospect of never getting out.
I have a feeling that this monster is mainly here for flesh and less for wood.
They sort of grumble, but for different reasons, and then it all dies down. They're sort of like, like they're all sort of like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and they
you have a point, but also shut up.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, and I hate it. Like, and so they're like, okay, and they gather stuff together, and they're ready to go with you up to the hall. By the way,
sure that the ship is like secured, so that if like high tide should come in, that like the ship doesn't get dragged out to sea. That would be bad.
And as they're looking at this, Frithgar is sort of like standing aside, looking at the deck, and he comes back and he says, "Can fix that tomorrow. Couple of pieces of wood."
Lovely.
He nods.
And she, I'm assuming he's like really tall, right?
Yes.
Okay, but Runesild is also tall. She's like 1.90 m. Which is, I wrote down how much that is in feet, inches, whatever. I think that's like 6 foot something. I don't know. I don't know imperial systems. Anyway, she's tall. But yeah, she like admiringly slaps him on the shoulder.
And he says nothing, but just turns to go. Yeah.
So yeah, then once everybody is done, she would like make sure that she leads everybody up to the hall with like, I guess, Guy and so on in the front to like lead them up to the hall, and she would like take the rear to like make sure they're not being followed.
Okay.
And make sure that everybody sticks together in a group.
Okay. Make a perception check for me, please, as you head up to do all that.
Oh boy. Because Runesild is great at perception.
Oh, look at that.
Wait, I have the wrong tab open. Oh, outstanding. I planned that.
You were like, I am wonderful at perception.
Yes.
Suddenly you have the Witcher vision, and you can just follow directly these creatures. No, so with that 21, with a natural 20, you're able to, as you head up towards the hall, You can definitely hear around you. There's the howling of the wind, of course, that I may have mentioned before. There's no rain at the moment, but you do a couple of times sort of hear this kind of like sort of howling in the distance. But not long before you get to the outer wall of the sanctuary, which, as you know, there's a hall inside it, but then there's a wall around the outside, one part of which is broken. Your foot trods on something and you hear this crack below your foot, and it is not a stick.
Is it a bone, perchance?
Sure
Perhaps,
is.
maybe.
It is a bone.
Cool. Yeah, pick it up.
And as you look at it, it is a bone. And chat, sort of trigger warning here. This is going to be a little graphic. Hopefully not too graphic, but a little graphic.
I love graphics. I'm an artist.
You think there may be a little piece of you think there may be a little piece of flesh hanging off this bone, Runesild. This looks fresh.
Snack for later.
This looks fresh.
Cool. Wait, do you have an image or what?
No, I do not have an image.
No, okay. Oh, boo.
I'm theater of the minding it here. But yeah.
She sniffs it.
It smells of fresh blood, and it's definitely not an animal bone. And, right next to you, I should also say, I assume that you're not, like, interesting, like, for your entire crew to look at. But the even sort of standing right next to you, you have the Frithgar, and then also Aban, who had come to get you in the first place. And Aban says, "It has been a while since I have seen the bone of a man treated like that. That was killed within the last hour, Runesild."
Yeah, she looks around to see if she can see any other bones or tracks or blood splatter or whatever.
She does see
Viscera?
She does see some bones, and she does see some more blood, although it trails off after not too long. It seems like whatever this was, it just consumed whatever it had, not quite whole, obviously, and then just sort of like left the bones in a leaving behind it, but not far enough to trace to anywhere in particular, especially in the night.
So since we are on our way to the hall, is this like trail crossing our pathway, or is it going with the pathway?
It goes with the pathway for a little bit and then veers off.
Yeah.
So it heads off to the western side, and not for very long before it gets just, fades completely. But it was on the path for a little while.
Can I tell if it's like coming onto the trail or going off it at this point?
Going off it. You're pretty confident,
okay.
Yeah.
Because I got a natural 20. I know
right.
everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you think that this, if you had to guess, because you stepped on the bone on the way up, so you think if you had to kind of retrace it in your mind, the creature probably ran up from wherever it was, up the path, and then veered off before it reached the sanctuary with the lights and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, speaking of the lights, are the purple and green lights currently shining?
Not at the moment.
Okay, let me think. How bright is it out? Like, if it's a full moon, then I could, like, theoretically see reasonably well. Like, what's the light situation?
It's fog covered, unfortunately. There's and mist
can't
covered.
See shit.
Yeah, really can't. Other than what your torches reveal, which is not much. That's why you stepped on it first before you saw anything.
For a little stupid joke for anybody in the audience who speaks German. Can't see shit, but I can't see mist. That's a little stupid.
It's a German language joke, and I don't get it.
It's a multilingual pun. Okay. Mist is German for manure.
Oh,
so
okay.
And we also use it as a curse, like you would say shit in English. So
I thought it wasn't it Scheisse? Isn't that?
Scheisse. Yeah. But we have a lot of words for that.
Okay.
Like mist is specifically manure,
I
That's
see.
What like they collected piles on farms.
Effect Life is like, Tari, really?
Yes, really. You come here for the stupid wordplay. You've known me long enough on this channel. Stupid puns is what we do. So, in that case, I'll try to make a mental note of where exactly I saw this trail.
Okay.
Maybe mark the spot with like a few strategically placed stones. Like I'm assuming there's like pebbles and shit everywhere, right?
Yes. For sure.
So that I hopefully can find the spot again tomorrow in the light.
Okay. So, once you've had a chance to see that, you make you make your way back to the sanctuary without other further incident. But the group that you bring into the walls of the sanctuary and into the hall is a gloomy one. The people who are inside the hall, Cairno and Egbert and Elfnoth and Edgar, the group, don't say anything against it. They just Cairno says something to Edgar, and then Edgar sort of like brings the crew and so on to various parts of the hall, because they're like, piles of straw and stuff like that. And the one nice thing about having an island that doesn't have a lot of people on it is there's plenty of room for people to fit. So the crew is able to bed down more or less. But it is a gloomy, I would say, crew that sort of falls asleep into uneasy rest.
Before they fall asleep, go to sleep, Runesword would, once everybody is inside, like, I don't know, does actually the entire crew and everybody fit into the hall itself, or do people have to sleep outside?
No, I think they could fit into the hall. It's going to be because they're just kind of against the walls and stuff, lying against the walls. Because the crew isn't like, it's not a crew of 50, right? So, yeah.
Well, you did say something about the ship being big enough to have like a spot under deck, which is not a thing that longboats have, like except for like.
That's right. That's right. It's not. Well, it's not right, but it's
know that because I've been on one.
Right. That's right. No, and I've seen them, and I've seen an actual like from the Viking era longship too. But there is. The spot below is not like a massive cargo area, right? Like it's a spot where and there's the spot where ballast has to be loaded to keep the thing steady. So that's basically what I meant about the space below deck.
But in that case, once everybody's inside, she would try to do another speech, like step onto a chair or onto one of those. You said it was like wooden blocks they sit on, right?
That's correct.
Like climb on one of those and get everybody's attention. Not wet.
Okay.
It kind of sounds like saying wet with like a very thick accent, like
what?
Like cool whip.
Right. Wet the whipping and the knife.
Yeah. And would thank the hosts for granting so graciously the stay. Notably, she will not apologize. She will just be very thankful for it. A bit of underhanded psychology here. And says that, and tomorrow, in order to repay you for your gracious kindness, I will set out and defeat your monster that plagues this island. So rest assured tonight, tomorrow this will have been the last terrifying night.
And there's kind of there's sort of silence as they listen to your words. And then a couple of the crew, after hearing that you're done, sort of like turns over onto their side to kind of go to sleep. And Aban says, those are brave words, bravely chosen. But they are scared. They are unsure if you will be able to deliver on your promise.
Oh, I will be able to deliver. Don't worry about it. And she slaps him on the back. And lets out another hearty laugh.
You notice too that Jasib and Aban, Guy is always quiet, but Jasib and Aban are much quieter than normal. As is Genevieve. She doesn't seem to be like, she hears your words and sort of as your hearty laugh, and she kind of smiles as she usually would, but does not, she doesn't seem to be filled with excitement or glory or like yeah, we can do it. But seems kind of brought down by the mood of everyone.
Oh,
here.
but I had 2 rousing speeches and nobody is roused.
Under most circumstances,
what am I doing rousing speeches for?
They would have been. You get the impression, but this whole place, there seems to be a pall that settles over the island. Unfortunately,
everybody having vitamin D deficiency.
That's exactly right. If only we had real winter lamps, we'd be all good to go. Just before we go on, you folks are watching.
One like these. Oh, I can't get it into frame. It's stuck on my printer. There.
Ooh, very nice. That's cool. Yep, makes a big difference to avoid sad. Mm-hmm. It's good stuff. You are watching day 3 of Beowulf: Age of Heroes. We are with TariToons today, and this is part 2 of the Hermit Sanctuary. And if you like what you have seen so far, please follow the channel, please subscribe to the channel, support the Patreon, do all that good stuff, and please spread the word about this campaign as we are continuing on with it and with the people that we find here. Okay, assuming that after you've had this rousing speech, assuming you then head to bed.
The speech that was meant to be rousing.
Yeah. You then fall to sleep yourself.
You remember the 13th Warrior?
I do.
That scene where the warriors, at that point I don't think 13 anymore because already one or two.
It's been 20 years, so I'll trust you with whatever it is.
Yeah, for me it was a month since I rewatched that one. So when they are at Hermit and like they try to like they're staying the first night there and everybody's like staying awake overnight, basically just pretending to sleep.
Right.
Everybody's sleeping with one eye open. I would like to try and pull that one off. To like basically try to stay alert through the night and like keep my sword close.
So I'll tell you what, I will allow you to do that, but if you do that, you may risk getting a level of exhaustion.
Shit. Can I instead try that with the risk of falling asleep anyway? Is that an option?
I don't quite follow. You mean try to stay awake, but if you fall asleep, oh well?
Yeah, if I get too tired, then she would.
Well, the thing is,
or is that like?
I mean, the thing is, I could grant you. I mean, I could give you a Constitution saving throw to stay awake. It's just if you're going to stay awake, you are going to take the level of exhaustion at the end of it. Remember, you got here after a long trip over the sea as well. Not a long trip, but
fair.
A trip.
No, okay, in that case, she'll just sleep. And like, I guess put up, what is it called? Like a watch schedule?
Mm-hmm, yep, like, you can set a watch, sure.
Yeah.
Among your followers, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that. And the night itself seems to pass not uneventfully because there are noises and things that go bump in the night, but
yeah, a lot of snoring sailors, I assume.
Yes, and no one like kicks in the door though, which is a nice change.
Because there was no door.
Exactly, because the door is gone, and now there's just a monster-sized hole in it. And
oh my God, like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, or a Kool-Aid Man, like So, is it a sundial watch? No, I don't think it's a sundial watch, Dragon. Different kind of watch.
Yeah, very serious role players here on the.
Yeah. Like channel. we don't want to joke around at all. But as you wake up,
everybody hinges on us being serious.
I don't think I can handle that. All right, let's just be clear. Hey. So it's an open and shut case. All right. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So I like the image that Handiwork is going to stop by and watch this and be like, what the hell are these people doing to our game? Look, we're playing it, okay? Yeah. You need to have humor when monsters are about. So you will
be happy that we are not just doing Monty Python quotes all the
right,
time,
exactly,
so,
exactly. A lot of Holy Grail would have been the other option. When you wake up in the morning, you are woken by several people. You think Edgar being one of them, sort of shuffling about in the now chilly hall. And I don't know whether anyone's had this experience. I have. I once had the experience of falling asleep in a main ill-insulated farmhouse and waking up the next morning, and this was like February. I have never been that cold. It was absolutely frigid in the place, and I was literally woken up by how cold it was. So that happens to you as well. But the good news is that there is a little bit of a scent elsewhere in the hall, and as you look up, you can see that the housekeeper, Chrono, is preparing a breakfast of some kind. You think there might be some meat and something else being there, but you can't totally tell. But you also see that
Probably
Frithgar,
a lot of fish.
Yeah, you don't know, actually. Could be. There was some leftover meat, like jerky and stuff from last night's meal. Maybe that part is part of it. And Frithgar is stoking the fire. Egbert is sleeping, meanwhile, while one person, specifically that guy, is nowhere to be found. You do not see Elfnoth, the provisioner, around.
Was he there last evening when we got back?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. You're sort of, as you gradually awake, you can see the crew gradually awakens as well, and it's now there is a I wouldn't call it a bright light, but it is a gray kind of light that's well enough to see by, that you could try to explore the island. And I should mention, just as a reminder, let me see if I can get you to a map of the island so you can take a look. Let's see. Yeah, line must be drawn here. Okay, so you have a few things that. Oh wait, sorry. Let me bring. Oh no, I did bring you here. Okay.
So the ship was down here at the shore in the south, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The ship was down here, right there.
I'm just gonna make a note.
And
the bloody trail, where was that?
The bloody trail was about here. Like basically just at the fork in the, path.
And it went off west.
It went off. That's right. It went. Exactly. Yep. By the way, shout out to Roll20. A lot of these new tools actually do work snappier and more easily than before. So, good work, Roll20. Keep it up. So yes, in that direction. But it only went a little ways though. Just so you know, Runesild, before it stopped. Like so, it isn't like it doesn't go a long way down the path. It might just have been, within like 10 feet or 15 feet of each other, basically. But just to sort of highlight a couple things for you here. So this is obviously the Hermit's Hall, the sanctuary right there. This is the ruin that you passed by, and you may remember that there was a hut that was literally where Edgar was, and that's the ruin. And there's stone from the tower here that is sort of fallen down tower. So there's the ruin. That's one area. You've got over here these eastern cliffs. You have western cliffs over here. You have the northern cliffs over here. And you have two other things of note. One is that there is this set of standing stones, which you heard mentioned a couple times, that was here.
Sorry, you froze up there for me for a second, and I assume that's because I froze probably up.
Yeah, I think so.
Repeat that? What is there?
So these are the standing stones.
Okay.
Over here. And the last thing is that there is in the northwestern part. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, hold on. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. That's not the standing stones. I got confused because of the way they described it. These things here, like the one that you saw right at the track, are standing stones. They're not in a circle.
So what are these, like megaliths or what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you need to go check and see them if you wanted. The one that you saw here was like kind of a path marker, so it would have like this way to the sanctuary, that way to other things. So it has like diagrams on it. This is a walled graveyard. Sorry, not standing stones. These that you see here scattered about are standing stones. So yes, you've got the cliffs, you've got the ruin, you've got the walled graveyard, and then of course you also have Edgar was going to take you to this set of caves that were in the sort of side of the cliffs here.
Okay. So Hunsel would probably be one of the first people to be awake, since he's alert and running on adrenaline. She would get up. Oh, can you hear me? Test, test.
I can now. You froze up quite a bit, but I think I heard you that she's the first one up, is what you said.
Yeah, one of the first people up. I'm assuming if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, there's a few people in the
and-
hall, just so you know, that are up, but
Yeah.
but they're not moving. So yeah.
Yeah, she would just whisper over to the closest of them to like, "Hey, I'm gonna go run around the perimeter. I'll be right back." Yeah, she would step outside of the hall, and the plan is to just walk around inside these walls and get just like a closer look at where everything is. Since she's only seen the place in the dark, right?
That's correct. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about the sanctuary, this hall.
And maybe make a line around the wall on the outer side too.
Okay. So let's see here. Okay, let's see here.
Test.
Yep, I hear you. You broke up a little bit, but I heard you. Okay, so you're going outside here, and then you wanna sort of do a little. You said circle inside and outside the walls, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is like cutting in and out for some reason.
It's okay. Just let me know what you could hear.
Hi, sorry. Now I was completely gone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We have storms going on, chat, so that's why.
Go reboot my router real quick, so I will be back in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, if that's all right.
That is totally fine. I will talk to the peoples. So we have Wi-Fi issues, which means you now get me in double face version. Okay. So I will check in with all of you lovely folks as we are playing some Beowulf. But we've got some Wi-Fi stuff, so you can bear with me as we are playing this. I should mention, by the way, this is a duet system. This is by Handiwork Games, and we are playing the Hermit Sanctuary, and the one that Tren is playing with his character, Elflear, is called the Three Ogre Brothers, and we will be playing that in 2 weeks. So actually next week, I'm going to be back here with Tari doing our Gamebook illustration stream, and then the week after that is going to be Tren playing Beowulf Age of Heroes Part 2 of the Three Ogre Brothers. And in his adventure, so far you might remember that they came to a place where there was a church, or at least it looked like a church, and he talked to these three people, and then when he came back like the next morning, the church was gone, and it was just like a sort of ruined building, and the people that were there as if they were gone, as if they had never been there, suggesting that maybe we're dealing with ghosts or something like that. So it is very cool, I think, to have a system in which these two people are on different sides of the world, or different sides of the Whale Road, I should say, although there is the possibility that they will be able to sort of interact with each other at some point down the line. So I would not say that that's out of the realm of possibility. That's a good question, Cowgirl. Eventually the players will almost certainly cross paths. The issue is under what circumstances they'll cross paths, and that is sort of dependent on how things go. They have a couple of adventures that they have to do first, basically, before they would come into contact with each other. But yes, I think there is a possibility that they will connect with each other. They might do that, let us say, around a certain charity convention that's sort of prominent on this channel known as ArvCon. So I can imagine that is the case. But yes, welcome, Cowgirl. And we will have our player back in just a minute. She is having Wi-Fi issues. That's storming where she is in the Netherlands, so Hopefully we will get her back shortly. Also, a quick note, if you like what you've seen with this, keep in mind that we run 5 separate campaigns between 2 channels. On this channel, I run this campaign. I also run Eberron, Oracle of War, which is currently in part of 11 of a 20-part campaign. Thank you for the follow, Cowgirl. And I also do a stream of tabletop for a game called Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, which is inspired by the old module Barrier Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. And so it's connected to that. That's really fun as well. Very cool world in that one. So we have 3 that we do that I DM on this channel, GM on this channel. And then on GOG Comms Twitch channel, I GM 2 campaigns at the moment. One is in Greyhawk. That is called Ghosts of Saltmarsh. And that's with the Infinity and Beyond, with the GOG crew. And then the other one, I see that Tari is back with us. The other one is Talisman Adventures. That one is coming to a close. And then we will be down to 4 that I run personally. We also have Community D&D on this channel, which I do not run, but which is on my channel, run by others, by the Shadow Crew. No idea about Bag of Giving. That is, I was happy to host it, but that is run by, hello Tari, but that is run by Brandon Crilly and Mike Underwood. And right now, both of those folks are extremely busy. So I don't know when or if Bag of Giving will restart. We'll be happy to host them if and when they do that. Okay, how we doing on the router stuff?
And my connection is back, gone again, apparently. It's weird. Test. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, weird. I have like 0 bars. I don't know what's going on.
Huh.
I guess we just have to keep on going and see.
Yeah, we'll do the best we can. Kind of freezing up here and there, but hanging in there.
It's not good.
The power of the internet will compel us somehow. Okay, so let's see. Where were we? Yes, so you were going out to check the inside and the outside of the walls, right? Of the sanctuary?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, have a look at these 2 other buildings that are there?
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about that. So on the other buildings, paper is too sizable here. Hold on a second.
To drink something. Stay hydrated, everybody.
Stay hydrated. Okay, so first of all, let's reveal these, since you can now go into these as you will. So,
well, she wouldn't go in because she assumed that people will be sleeping in there. But she would take a peek, through the door or whatever.
That's what I would have.
If there are windows, take a peek.
That's what I would have assumed. Yeah. They're not windows. But just give me 1 second here. Move you off screen for a moment. Yeah, both of these things, if you just sort of take a peek in, one of these, and this is the one on the left side. This looks like it's some kind of, just sort of peeking in quickly, Runso, it looks like a storehouse of some kind. It looks like it's fairly recently built. And as you just sort of peek in, you can see that there are what looks like stores of dried and smoked foods and firewood and tools. And there's some bolts of woven cloth and things like that. So if you had to guess, you would assume that this is where basically the supplies for at least the Hermit Sanctuary, if not the island as a whole, are basically kept in this storehouse. There's no one in there right now, but that's what you would guess. And then, and as I say, that looks to be fairly recent, if you had to guess. This one on the right over here looks to be the house of someone else. It looks like there might actually be chambers possibly for... because you don't think the housekeeper was sleeping in the hall, so you might think that maybe Caro and her son Edgar would live here. That might be the place where they would be, because you can see simple things like a kind of a simple wood framed bed. Maybe there's a wooden box, you would say, at the sort of foot of each of the beds. But obviously, as you said, you're not, I assume, going in there and tossing the place for stuff. So, yeah. So that's
trying to get a lay of the land.
Yep. So that's what you find as far as that is concerned. The wall itself, I should say, that's around the outside of this thing, The wall itself is partially in most of the place in good repair, with one exception, as I'll talk about. So the wall varies between, like, let's say 5 to 6 feet tall. It would make life difficult, you think, for attackers. I mean, they could probably climb and clamber over the walls, but it wouldn't just be, that's a decent sized wall. You couldn't just like leap
Yeah, how
over
high
it.
is it and how thick?
6 feet,
Roughly.
probably 5 to 6 feet tall.
Ooh, that's pretty big.
And as far as thickness,
well, for a height like that, it needs to be like what, half a meter thick at
right,
least?
I was going to say, yeah, probably. Although it's bricks on both or stone, I should say, on the inside and the outside. There is, however, one spot, though, that is not in as good condition. And
yeah, one second. Sure. How tall and thick is the inner wall? Is that the same, or is that lower?
Same.
Thinner?
Same.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then, like, look at the broken spot in the south.
Right. That one right there. Yeah. Now, in that broken spot, that's the one area that does not, that seems to have some issues. There are wooden posts and some piles of stone that mark where there's repairs in progress. And you're told by one of the people in the hall that there was a huge storm not long ago. In fact, they talked a lot about purple and green light that accompanied said storm, which caused a lot of damage to the wall. Especially near the gate. And that area, Frithgar apparently has been working on repairing it. And in fact, I mentioned that he stoked the fire. As you get out and you're sort of looking at the wall, it's not long before he himself comes out and I'll move him out here. And with his tools goes back to, clink, 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 working on repair.
So the stones, does the damage look older or newer? Because, like, if it would be older, then, like, obviously the stones that would have fallen off would also have grown lichen and moss or whatever,
right,
weathering on them. And if they were newer, they would be lighter colored.
No, the damage looks fairly new. And in fact, the stone that is like the stone that you see is going in to replace where the other one collapsed does not look to be the same kind of stone as the original stone around it. It seems to be sort of darker and more mossy. So it looks as if it's sort of older stone, and definitely not the same stone that was used to repair the wall, that was used to build the wall elsewhere.
Yeah, I guess, like, I'm assuming she gets there before she can do her outer perimeter walk for the wall, because she would need to get out of the gate unless she climbs over. In that case, she would stop and take some time to help out with the wall. Like, I don't know, like, I can't estimate how big the damage is, like, how long that would take to repair. Like, I'm assuming these are just loosely stacked stones without any, what do you call the stuff that you put in between stones, like when
mortar?
You're making walls? Mortar.
Mortar, yep. That's right, although you can see that the part that's already been repaired, there are a lot of sort of cleverly placed kind of wood anchors that are sort of placed left and right underneath, basically in such a way as to kind of, it's almost like lattice work that seems to be sort of holding the stone in place, at least for the moment. You don't know what the long-term plan is for this, but it seems like it's stuff that's being held by almost like a little bit of a framework.
Wait, is that all the way around or just in the spot?
No, just in the spot.
Oh, I was about to say, okay, because that would be weird.
Yeah, no, not the whole thing, just the spot.
Okay, no, then, she would, like, stop, put, like, her sword down and her helmet down, take off her cloak.
Okay.
Roll up her sleeves and just help out.
He does not say anything, but as you are working with him, a couple of times he gets up, and assuming you accompany him, he goes off to, as it turns out, where he's been gathering the stone, and it's from the ruin that you saw when you first arrived that the hut is next to. And he's been picking up stone from that and bringing it back. So, no,
wait. In that case, it would take a while, right? So in that case, once she sees him leaving, she would grab her stuff and go walk around the perimeter, like do her rounds again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
instead of waiting.
You can see that. I didn't know if you were going with him to do that, to
No, no,
grab
no.
the stone. Okay. So as you walk around the outside, you can see that the perimeter of it. I mean, again, it's not like smooth and like spectacularly taken care of, but it definitely you can see that there are little chips and little marks on it and whatever. But yeah, coastal lettuce isn't going to hold. But it looks to be in fairly good repair. And it looks like it would stand up against, keep the worst of the wind out, obviously. And you think that it would keep anyone that was trying to just, if you had a invading like band of like, bandits or coming in to try to take over, it would be harder for them to do that, given the fact that the wall is here. But you've also seen higher walls, Runesild, sometimes, and so there is.
Oh yeah, back home she would have seen Roman walls, not knowing what Romans are, of course, but
Yep.
she would know what Roman walls look like. So.
Yep.
Oh shite! I completely forgot to do a thing that I meant to do. Like before going to sleep last night, she meant to get a detailed report on what happened down at the shore while she was gone with the monster, like from what was his name? I don't remember. I didn't write it down. From the one crewmate.
From the captain? Ingvold, you mean? Well, Ingvold was the one who was taken, if that's the one you mean.
Like one of the guys was like, hey, this and that happened, and then she was like, yo, chill.
Yeah.
First we get everybody out of here, and then you can fill me in.
Yep. And basically, so the captain also talked to you about that. And so the captain sort of fills in, but it's more or less the stuff that you already knew, that this monster appeared out of nowhere, grabbed Ingvold, slammed into the deck, basically breaking his back, you would assume, because he was looked dead immediately. And in so doing, also cracking the oar in half that, like, this guy had been near. He hadn't been sitting, like, rowing, obviously, but he was near it. And then, Guy had leaped forward, tried to attack him with his spear, did nothing, didn't have any effect. A couple people threw javelins at the creature, it just bounced off his skin, his fur. And then the monster, roaring, turned around and, like, loped off into the darkness. And at that point, Aban came running up to find you.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No. Then wait until I can talk to Rigmod. Okay. So yeah, I'll continue my perimeter one and like also try to get a view of the island from here.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's still or again misty since it's like early morning.
It's pretty misty, yeah, and the fog is not burned off. There's it's now a brighter gray light, but still kind of a gray light, and the visibility is not tremendous.
Mist.
But as you make your way around, you've kind of finished your perimeter check. You don't notice anything else, about the walls other than what I've already, previously described. And again, it's just the sound of the wind, really, the sort of howling of the wind that seems to have picked up a little bit. Not crazy, but has picked up a little bit since last night.
Yeah, well, we are on an island in the North Sea.
Yep.
It's always windy. It's always fucking windy. Pardon, heckin' windy. That's something that I learned the hard way when I was a teenager. When I, for the first time, went to visit my aunt, who at the time used to live in Hamburg, which is pretty close, well, relatively close to the coast. But yeah, it's just very fucking windy in that entire region. And at the time, I always used to wear a hat, and that one was just swept away every 5 minutes. Stop wearing that one really quick.
Yeah, you have to pin that sucker down if you were going to, I imagine.
Yeah, no, I swept it out for like a headscarf thingy instead, also to keep my hair out of the face. But yeah, wind. No, okay. Yeah, I guess after she finished that, she would return to the hall.
All right. Yeah, in fact, let me see if I can... what do we got? Yes, all right. Let me add that into the game. 1 second.
If you turn the map upside down, it makes a concerned face, like a...
There we go. Little bit of wind. Right, lovely. Okay, so. No, our aunt does not live in a hamburger. Jeez, Dragon.
Not anymore, no. She moved away.
She went to Bun. Just kidding. See?
No, that's what I used to.
I made a joke. I made a food and also a German.
Very
joke.
different places, pretty far away from each other. How many hours to drive? 6, 7 hours to drive.
Totally
Very
different. Okay, so in any
and
case,
not nearly as fucking windy.
Yeah.
So back to the hall.
Yes.
Back into the mouth of the.
So once you are back, once you get back into the hall, you can see that the food has now been. You can get sort of smelling better, having gone through stuff. It appears that Carreo has made a breakfast of oat dumplings and the leftover meat from last night's meal. So smells pretty good anyway.
Yeah. Also, Runselt would also like contribute. That was the word. Contribute to breakfast by accessing like the provisions that the crew had brought along.
Okay.
Which is probably also stuff like oats, dried meat, dried fish.
Okay.
I don't know what else. Dried apples. I have no idea.
You can do all that. You can do all that, and actually they have probably oranges, right? We don't want scurvy showing up on these things.
Oh yeah, the famous oranges of northern Germany. Yeah, sure.
Some grapefruit, right? You know, some right from the groves. Just kidding. But yes, you're able to do that. Aha, I see what you did there. So you're able to do that without difficulty, and there are a fair number of supplies that you saw in that storehouse. Again, one of the benefits of having not a lot of people there. Cabbages have vitamin C. Yeah, that's true. Cabbages do have vitamin C.
Yeah, but those aren't great. Oh, sauerkraut. Did they have sauerkraut invented yet? I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, you're able to do that and bring goods and supplies and so on into the hall and have a nourishing meal, even if people are still not in a wonderful mood. Although it's a little bit better than it was last night.
Yeah, Runselt would crack some jokes to bring everybody's spirits up.
Okay.
Just be a ray of sunshine. Possibly seem a bit manic.
We're fine. You've seen.
No, not like that manic. More like in the fashion of like, oh, she's like way too enthusiastic for this entire situation, manic.
Right. Have you seen? You've seen Die Hard, right?
I have not.
What? You haven't seen Die Hard, the greatest action movie ever made? What?
I don't like action movies.
Yeah, but no, but this is. Oh, but man.
I've never watched Die Hard. I'm sorry.
All right, that's fine. It just, you have 1 week to remedy that. No, I'm just kidding. You should watch it at some point. Anyway, there's a character in there who is sort of like a classic 80s cocaine using like corporate exec who basically is like super stressed out all the time. So when the stuff happens at the beginning that like is the like kind of generating event for the movie. Yeah, Ellis, exactly, Trent. Like,
I know about the movie. I've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I think through that series, I've just watched the entire movie because the entire show is just Die Hard reference.
Okay, yeah. So Ellis basically is the guy, and like Ellis does that stuff all the time. He's like, "It's gonna be fine. We're all fine. We're great. Everything's great. We're all fine. We're great." So also hi, Trent. Yes, the greatest Christmas movie ever. That's true, Dragon. Okay.
No, that is Hogfather.
So yeah, no. There's a meme about Die Hard as a Christmas movie. So anyway, so you were able to you're able to do that, and again, in the hall you have, besides your crew and your followers, you have got the Carano, and Edgar is there, who's kind of like eating and seems kind of like anxious, not in a nervous way, but sort of anxiously like looking at you and looking at the door and looking back at you. And then Egbert is now awake, but is just sort of like mumbling to himself as he moodily chews on a piece of jerky.
Chomp chomp. Right. I guess as soon as Rickmod is awake, who I'm assuming is awake early because she is an old woman. And
Yes.
old women are always awake at like 5 a.m. for some reason.
That's right.
Go
They
to
go to bed at
5
like
p.m.
8 o'clock. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I was gonna check in on her and inquire her if any of the things we heard so far about this monster that haunts this island, about this beast, if that matches anything she has ever heard of.
And she kind of listens as you explain what you want, and she kind of, well, that would depend, I suppose. There are, of course, those who believe that monsters visit themselves upon these islands for reasons of... And she kind of trails off and then cackles a bit. For reasons of things that people have done to attract them. Moments of greed, for example. Perhaps this creature is drawn by what failures these people have made. Or it could be ill fortune. But either way, this creature seems like it cannot be killed through normal means. You will have to find a way around its defenses. If you can do that before it eats all of the crew.
Nobody's gonna eat my crew.
They already ate one of them.
So that's not... that person is no longer part of my crew?
Well, at least that's what Rickmod says.
No, like
you get the impression.
Runsild is making some stupid logic.
Oh, I see.
No, okay. In that case, yeah, I guess once her followers all are up and have had breakfast, she would grab, let me think, Rigmod and the husbands.
Okay.
And try to scout out the village. Also, is a boy here?
The boy is here. That's the one. That's Edgar, who was looking at you and looking at the door.
Yeah, and she would go up to him, ask him, "Hey, you said last night that you could show us around, right?"
Yes, you wanted to see the caves. I was going to show you where the caves were, right? The caves?
Yeah, I would love to see where the caves are, but could you also show us some other places on the island? I would like to get a good lay of the land.
Oh, yeah, I can show you all the places. Yes, I know the island better than anyone.
Outstanding. Then let's go. So yeah, she would go with the boy and the husbands out taking a look at the island, and would, before she leaves, instruct the rest of the guys and Guy.
Guy and Genevieve, right? I assume you're leaving.
Genevieve.
Sorry, Genevieve.
Help him. Yeah, that's fine. I told you can just pronounce her like in French.
I just a lot of names.
I know. So to help around, like tell the crew to like help out with repairing the wall.
Okay.
And Genevieve to help out with like food baking and stuff, because that's like her thing.
Okay.
And then we are off on a hero's journey.
All right, so
hero's journey.
It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because one of the panels that I'm going to be on at Boscone, which is coming up this weekend, which is a convention in Boston, is going to be "Have we outgrown the hero's journey?" And I'll let people into a little bit of a moment about that. So the moderator got in touch with us and was like, "Hey, can you what do you want? What do you all want to talk about individually?" And blah blah blah. And so one of the people on the panel is Michael Swanwick. Now, if you don't know who that is, Michael Swanwick is one of the best fantasy/science fiction short story writers of all time. Like, this is a big time guy who I've been fortunate enough to interview before and be on a panel with before. And so a couple other people were like, oh, I was thinking about this that might like counteract the hero's journey and like, hero's journey in popular culture. And he was just kind of like, I despise the hero's journey, which, and he said something to the effect of, which makes it possible for AI to turn out slop like nobody's business. Please let it die. I was just like, so I'm not as negative on it as Michael is, but like, it was very funny. So if you come to the panel, if you're in the Boston area and you come to this panel, I think there will be some fireworks surrounding the aforementioned hero's journey.
Everybody's shipping out for Boston.
Yeah.
For Boston.
Exactly. Going for Boston. Okay, so let me bring you over to the map where we can see.
Find your wooden leg.
Here we go. Let me zoom out a bit. So you are right here right now. So where do you want, where would you like Edgar to take you?
I guess the first stop would be where we found the tracks last night. Why can't I grab my token? Do I have the wrong? Oh, I had the wrong thing selected.
Okay.
Yeah, first go back to where the tracks were.
Sounds good.
And I guess the plan is to try and follow these tracks, and on the way have the boy explain stuff. And also, I hope the boy will be very excited about seeing some cool fucked up bones, because that's what little kids are like. It's like, whoa, that's so gross.
Super cool. Super cool bones. Yeah. Okay,
that's how I was when I was a kid.
Okay. Right. Okay, there we go.
You have two types of children. You have the ones who are like scared at everything, and you have like the type of children who are excited by everything, right?
Yeah, I think that there is a third type, which is the kids who pretend to be excited by everything but are secretly scared of everything.
I see.
That I think is another group. But anyway, so yeah.
Which are your kids?
My kids, slightly different from each other. I think both of them. My daughter, so little Arv, my oldest, was very affected by visual images, like really struggle, like, visual images would get in her head and stay there. So she would have nightmares, and she would she really like struggled with that. And as she got older, it got easier. And obviously she's kind of grown out of that a little bit, but still has never really loved like horror and gore and all that stuff. Has not been her thing. My son, I think, is more Mini Arv. I think is more, I don't think he's quite as affected by the visual image, but he's very affected by like things happening to people. So like in the adventure I ran, the live D&D event I ran last week, he was obviously watching it. And there's this one sequence where a character, a bad guy basically, gets enclosed by these branches that pull him into the earth. And he was really scared for the guy. He was like, well, was the guy hurt? And I was like, so we were like, he
went to a farm upstate.
No, we said he was in jail or something like that, but he was like, he was really scared for the tree. And he was scared for what the tree was like, the person the tree was hurting. He just does not.
That's sad.
So yeah, they are, for different reasons, they're sensitive. And I was as a kid myself, so but still my kid watches.
And now you play pretend for a living.
My oldest is the Mandalorian. Loves the Mandalorian and all that, and so it's gotten a little bit easier as they got older. Okay, so where were we?
Bones and viscera. Let's go.
Yes, the bone tracks.
Blood and gore and all that good stuff.
Okay, so if you want to follow these tracks, let me zoom in here.
Well, first we have to find them again, right?
Right, and you find that with ease actually, because you put up some stones. Remember, right in the spot where you left them. So you find them in exactly the same spot, right by the sort of marker stone here.
Yes.
But again, unfortunately, it doesn't take too long before the sort of blood and bones trail off. However, I will say that there are also stones that are close, that are sort of close by. So basically as you get to like the end of the track, you can see there are like 3 fairly like tall to medium-sized stones. You can see 1, 2, 3 right here, that are visible from the path.
Right. Okay. In that case, after
and the tracks are
trail
over,
route,
by the way.
Well, once they run out. Once it would gesture to the megaliths, the standing stones, and in German we call those Hinkelstein. I don't know where that word comes from, but everybody knows that word because of Asterix.
I
Those
see.
things are very, very important. Asterix. Menhirs, I think is the English word, right?
That's right, which I know from
Yeah.
Asterix
Asterix.
comics, the constant use of menhirs, which is
Yeah.
obelisks or obelixes, right?
Obelix.
Obelix's thing is that
Obelix.
he just
Yeah.
carries menhirs
I don't
around.
know what it's pronounced in French, actually. I don't know the French pronunciation. It's a French comic, so.
Yep.
But yeah, would gesture to those and like ask, yo, what are these? My dude, my guy.
So Edgar sort of points and he says, there are all different kinds of these stones around the island, and some of them have they say things like they have pictures on them, and some of them are you can read, and some of them you can't. And there's all kinds of different ones. And he points at, and you can see there's a tall one here, and then there's two basically medium-sized ones here.
Do those have writings or pictures on them?
Sure. Which one do you want to go to first?
Oh, like she no, like that's what she asked the little boy. Like she points at these three stones. Do any of those have anything on them?
And he says, well, that one, and he points at this one right here. That one I think had stuff before, but I think the wind has taken away most of the writing now. It's kind of like rubbed out. You can't really see it. And then he points at this other medium one, and he says, and that one is got grass and cracks on it, and there are snails that crawl in and out of the thing of the cracks in the rock. But I don't think it has writing. But this has some writing, though.
Oh, I would love to have a look. Let's go.
Okay.
So I guess we go first to the closest one.
Okay.
Have a quick look. Yeah.
Okay. And that indeed, is like wind swept, like sort of wind scoured, actually. Again, there's always wind on this island, as we've discussed. So the wind has kind of scoured this. It's like really not even very like visible. There may have been carvings on this once, but they're very indistinct now. Very hard to see anything normal.
So, even Mundia, Rigmord, do you guys see anything legible on this thing?
And Rickmod kind of like looks up and peers, like the wind, having to hold her hood close against the wind, and none to be seen by this light.
Oh, that's ominous.
That also may be directly stealing from "None to be seen by this moon."
Yeah, I know.
Said by
I figured. I got that reference. Thank you. I know you're a big nerd.
I figured you'd appreciate it. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess in that case we just move on if we don't see anything of note there to the big stone in the back.
So in this one, so you may remember that this stone here had pictures of, and I think I showed this, but let me...
Yeah, this one had some Ogum on it, right? And Rigmund could read that.
Yes. Let me see if I can find as well.
How do you pronounce Ogum? 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 I don't know how you pronounce it, actually.
For which? I'm sorry. The
writing system. I don't know how you pronounce the name. I just know how to write it.
Oh.
I don't know how to write in Ogum. I just know how to write the word Ogum in Latin script.
Yeah, I don't even, to be honest with you, I do not even know. Is it that one? Yeah, it is.
I don't speak any Celtic languages.
I already had it ready. Okay, so looking on the stream, if you would, Tari, that is what you saw in the marker stone.
Wait. I need to press play first.
No problem.
Okay.
So that's not what you see on this stone. That's what you saw on the one back there, which was basically this drawing of what looks like, warriors like attacking this beast. But as you can see, none of the weapons seem to be hurting the creature.
Gee, what reminds me? What does it remind me of? Something that happened last night, where also no weapons could harm the big guy.
Does make you wonder a little bit. So that was the one that you saw. That was the one that's right here. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's the one that was right here, at the crossroads, right? But this one has something a little bit different. There is what you see basically is a sort of an angular shape to this boulder. In fact, I think I might have a picture of this. Yeah, I want to.
Angular shape.
Yeah, I want to make sure that you actually see it because.
Oh my God! The cubist got to the stone. It's literally all Minecraft. Just like a bunch of Minecraft blocks in the middle of like a completely naturalistic scene.
Suddenly behind you, you hear.
Oh God!
That freaked me out so much when I first played Minecraft. Oh man.
Yeah, I always play on peaceful, and I know people give me shit for that all the time. But yeah, I always play in peaceful. I like just building things. I'm a very scared little girl.
Okay, let's see. Let me put
Easily
that
scared.
in there.
Let's
go with that. Okay, right. Let me show you this on stream. So, okay, image. Right. And that is this. Okay. Oh my God, it's enormous. Sorry, I needed to resize it before I did that.
It's enormous.
Just 1 second. Okay.
That's what he said.
There we go. There we go. Perfect. So this is what that boulder looks like, and I'll zoom in on it a little bit, even though that there's more to the map, there's more to the picture. But I want to zoom in just on the boulder itself. Sorry, let me crop here.
So,
okay.
The spot where it like gets thinner, is that like still rock underneath, or is it just dirt that a regular potato-shaped rock is sitting on?
It looks like dirt that this rock is sitting on, but the thing that you note in particular is you see the front face of that, where like on sort of on the left-hand side of it a little bit, where it looks flatter, basically than the rest. That looks like it has been broken off. And it looks like a smooth cut, by which I mean like it's not just that it fell over and there's no piece of it nearby. Like in other words, it's not like lying around on the ground somewhere. And I mention that because you see right on the very edge of it, like right where the little flat space meets the kind of the rest of the boulder, you can see what looks like the very faintest sign of what looks like an illustrated border, like as if it's the border of a picture that is right on the edge of it, but the rest of that part of where the picture would have been is gone with the piece of the boulder.
How old does this cut look? Like, is this side as worn as the rest of the stone, or is this like does this like look like
it looks
relatively new?
It looks newer. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean like today, but it definitely looks like it is newer.
Yeah. While I was helping out with the wall earlier, don't suppose I saw a stone that happened to be roughly the size of what could be missing here.
You did not. The stone that you saw there was much smaller than that, and was also mostly shaped and like sort of brick and stone shaped, rather than sort of like kind of boulder shaped. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
But yeah.
In that case, Runsild would turn to Edgar, the little boy. Like, say, Edgar, how old are you? How many winters have you seen?
I've seen 12 so far. Hold on, Edgar is currently covered by the boulder. Let's put you... there we go.
Did the stone always used to look like this? While you were here?
I don't remember if it always looked like this, but I bet I know where it is, though. Because there's all kinds of stones in the graveyard, the walled graveyard that has lots of stones. They for everyone who's ever died, they put the graves there, and they use stones from around the island because there's so many of them, like in the cliffs and the caves and everything. So I bet it's there.
Show me?
Oh, sure. Sure. And so he like...
I'll race you there.
Yeah, he's already booking it, so you'd have to like run after him. You could do that though.
Yeah, okay, yeah, of course.
Behind
He's trying to keep this little scared kid entertained and keep his mind off terrifying murder things.
Behind you, you hear like, you think Rick Ma is like trying to like, make her way slowly.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm assuming the husbands just stay with her.
Yeah, no, right. So he sends you and just books it up the sort of towards the path up the hill, and then up this path.
But adults have higher movement speeds than children, so.
But his speed is great. No, you're right. So you do actually catch him. That's actually a good point. I'm thinking about me racing my son all the time.
He has long legs.
It's amazing how
Legs for
many
days.
ties my son has with me when we're racing, like to get to the car. Amazing how much that happens. Because to be clear, Chad, I am 6'3" and my son is 7. So like.
Can I get a 1-minute break to refill my water bottle?
Oh, of course. While you do that, I will let everyone know that you are watching the amazing and awesome TariToons as we play Day 3 of Beowulf, Age of Heroes. This is part 2 of the Hermit's Sanctuary as Runesild, Tari's character, is trying to figure out the mystery of this island and why these people have been getting killed. And now, at least, I think she's figured out that there may be a monster involved. If you like what you see and hear, can I ask you to do a couple things? Not only follow the channel, sub to the channel, support the Patreon, but also spread the word about this particular show and campaign. And keep in mind that the next 2 weeks, you're going to see more of Tari and then Tren, who's been in chat. Yeah, my son is 7 feet. No, he's not 7 feet. I do think, though, that there's a chance. I don't know that he's going to pass. Sorry, I am maybe coming down with something. I don't know that he's going to get taller than 6'3", but I would bet that he's going to pass 6 feet. I think that it's pretty likely that he's going to end up past that. My daughter has slowed down. She was like tallest in her class and all that, but she has slowed down basically right to before my wife's height. My wife is 5'6", so she's like just maybe like a hair, an inch short, 5'6". I think she'll end up growing another half an inch or an inch or so, but she's going to end up somewhere around between 5'6" and 5'7". My son, though, he could easily get over 6 feet, I think. So
how old are they
now? Daughter is just turned 16, and Genevieve turned 16, and my son is 7.5. So, yep. So he's got some growing to do.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, I stopped growing at 14. So.
Yeah.
I was already 1.80 m at 14. That was pain.
Oh man, that must have been not super easy. But then everyone caught up with you.
No, not super easy. They don't make clothes for tall people.
Yeah, I agreed. I know the pain, but it's easier though. Like male tall clothes are more easy from what I've understood. Because my mother was pretty tall. She was like 5'11". For her, was reasonably tall for a woman. But for me, yeah, I'm 6'3", so I had to find some stuff. Okay, so about this walled graveyard. So the boy leads you up the path and brings you here. And I guess actually I should bring him over from. Let me just copy him. Oh, let's try it again.
Can you shrink my token a little bit? I can't do that for some reason.
I think we just established that you're tall. No, just kidding.
I'm as big as a graveyard, literally. Look at that.
You were covering the entire graveyard. Yes. Let's get that.
Graveyard is just extremely small. It has only space for one person and only in the vertical, not in the horizontal.
It's a cubicle graveyard, basically. It's just for you alone.
Well, that's a circle, clearly. Greg, learn your shapes.
Yes, yes, very funny. Okay, so this is the walled graveyard. Now, jokes aside, it is definitely bigger than either a cubicle or a circular enclosure. But the stones are pretty tightly placed, but the wall is some 5 feet high, and I actually have a picture of this too. A lot of pictures of these.
Making me jump in between tabs. Tips. I know words. I can English.
Yeah, I put a lot of them in Roll20,
I am
but not all of them.
Very good English speaker.
Okay, give me 1 second here. Crop. Save as. Let's see. Find more cheer in a graveyard. Okay. Right.
What?
Okay.
Cheese in the graveyard? Yum.
Find more cheese.
Is that
in
why
the
the graveyard is round, so that it can fit cheese wheels that are stacked on top of it?
Ah, which giants place above them, like in the exact
Yeah.
spot that they need to be.
Very, very famous Viking burial ritual, putting wheels of cheese on graves.
Common to the experience.
Yeah, it's Source, trust me, bro.
Source, shut up.
Sources once came to me in a dream. This was revealed to me in a dream. That's how that goes, right?
Source, it should have been this way. Okay, so there I put a picture just above for chat. You can see. I'll expand it a little bit actually first. So there, that's what it looks like, kind of leading up to it. And the walls are fairly high, actually, Runestilled, for a graveyard. About, like, as I say, 5 feet high, these walls. And which presumably is because that's how you protect it from the wind that is constantly blowing across the island. And the gateway has this sort of low opening. And so that's what you see from a distance. And Edgar brings you up to it, and he says, "This is the graveyard where all of the dead are placed and buried."
Ooh. So where are those stones, those special stones?
And so he goes inside the enclosure, and
yeah, I follow.
just before you go in, though, you are stopped by Aban, and he says,
"Wait, aren't they like way behind, or to catch up by
No,
now?
no, I would say that they would have caught up
Okay.
probably eventually by now. Actually, I guess that's true. If you ran all the way. No, you're probably right. They probably, because I forgot they're back with Rickbot, so that's actually going to take a while. So never mind. So they don't say anything to you. So you walk into the enclosure. Inside the enclosure, you can see a set of these, again, a lot of these sort of tightly placed stones. And inside the enclosure, you can see what are clearly 3 fresh graves, like have just been dug recently, probably you would guess within the last day or so, maybe 2 days. And then there's also half a dozen older graves. And each one of them is about what is described as like a 6-foot-long grass hummock, which I gather is like a mound. I would say basically, I'm guessing that's a burial mound that is facing from east.
What's the word?
Hummock.
Hammock?
Right. A hammock is something
Never heard that.
Hammock is something that you rest in.
Well,
that
I know what a
hangs between
hammock is.
trees. But a hummock, I don't know what the hummock is, to be honest. I'm guessing though that it's a mound because it's facing east-west. So it's like the sort of burial mound, the little grave mound, right, for the body is facing east-west. And each one has a small stone marker as a headstone. And every stone is less than probably 2 feet high. And there's like this carved interlacing design on it. But right opposite the entrance is a much larger grave marker and its accompanying grave. And you can see that the headstone there has a distinctive angular shape. And it's sort of like placed at the top. It's much bigger than the other stones. And Edgar sort of points and he says, "I bet it's that one. It's one of the ones anyway in here."
Let's have a look then. And yeah, go to inspect that stone further.
Okay. So definitely
Well,
it looks
would be
like...
great if I would be playing Inge now. She could like date the stone to exactly when it was formed out of sediment or whatever, and then cut and then moved again. But no.
Unfortunately not. Yeah, thank you, Effect Life. Right, this is what I assumed it was. So a hummock is a small elevated landform, rounded or irregular in shape, commonly found in wetland areas or regions affected by glaciation. Hummocks can be composed of soil or silt, sand, or vegetation, and it's often formed by the accumulation of debris or sediment. They are typically smaller in size compared to hills or mountains. Well, this is extremely small in size because it's been man-made, obviously, these things. But that's interesting. Yeah, so it's more or less what I thought. So it's basically a mound or a hill, and this is a very small, these are a set of small ones like that. So when you go over to the this broken stone that I mentioned, and you take a look at it, you can see what is clearly the story of, like, basically the rest of the border in the picture is there. And you can see a picture of, let me put up the one that you saw previous that I mentioned, which was this one
Yeah.
here. So you remember the one about the monster and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You see on the picture of this stone the same monster, but you also see, instead of a bunch of creatures, you see one person who is like wearing a helmet and looks to be almost the size of a beast. Looks like some kind of hero or something, if you had to guess. And you can see that the hero has their left hand up in the stone carving. And from their hand, they are holding something. You can't really see what exactly. They're holding some object. But the carving shows beams of what are clearly meant to be light coming from this thing that's being held. And you can see the beast here, instead of like roaring, is covering its face.
Okay, so Runesild would take her helmet off and put it on the little boy's head, and then like make the pose of the monster, and like pretend to be the monster while he can pretend to be the hero in the picture.
And so he's just like, he does this, and so that happens as literally that happens, and then you hear like, what exactly are you doing? And you look to see that your followers have arrived, and are a little confused as to why you were standing there with this other thing. And Rick Mod, who's sort of like, like breathing heavily, but has made it to the.
Well, can't you tell I'm being smote? And then she does like a dramatic death scene,
and Edgar smiles. Yeah, I just defeated her. I mean, not her. Well, and then he kind of shyly says, well, and he kind of steps away. And your followers come over, and Aban sort of looks it up and down. Interesting. So, this is more keys to the puzzle, yes?
I think this is telling us how we can defeat the monster. So I'm not sure how the person here, and she pointed at the guy with the helmet, is shooting laser beams from their fingers.
And Yasib says, laser beams? That is a new one. I have not heard that phrase before. Although where I come from, we developed that technology 500 years ago because we're way ahead of everything. I'm telling you, though, that's true. Everything that we invented, like in the West, was invented way before us by people who are much better at it. Anyway, so.
I think it's so funny. Like the only reason that Europe got like the moving letter printing press first is because our writing script is compatible with doing that, and like Arabic script and Chinese script isn't. They can't do that with those, and that's why they didn't invent that, which is just we won on a technicality, basically. Printing
presses, by the way, if you folks ever get a chance to go to, there's a place not that far from me called Old Mystic Seaport, which is where they have a lot of the old like whaler ships and stuff like that, and they have a printing press, like old school printing press that they would have used for them, which my daughter and I both think is super cool. And like how they slot the stuff into the printing press for use and all that is very, very cool. To get
awesome.
Into. But so this is what you find, and so the followers are kind of looking it up and down, and Rick Mod sort of nodding as she sees it.
She would also hand some water to Rick Mod.
Yeah. Okay. And Edgar says, I think there are more elsewhere too. You can find all over the island more stones if you want. You just have to go everywhere in the island and look at all the stones. And your followers kind of like side eye you.
I think there's a lot of stones on this island. Do you know any in particular that have pictures like these on there?
Well, there's and he starts like thinking about it, and then there's that. Oh, well, that might. Oh, yeah, there's one. There's actually some of the stones have the same picture, like the same symbol on it, and then one of the stones has a different picture. That's farther over though, to the east.
I think I want to see the stone with a different picture on it.
And
you can keep the helmet on during the way if you want to.
And he says, "Really?"
Yeah.
And so he puts on the helmet, which is like,
he still has it on probably.
Oh, you had it on before, yeah. So like the helmet, which is like down to his shoulders, like type of thing, right?
Well, I mean, this type of helmet is specifically designed to be down to his shoulder because it has chainmail attached.
No, I guess that's true. I guess I'm thinking about like that. It's like, but it's like. It like is bouncing back and forth on his head, basically. Like it probably would rotate.
It's way too big.
Yeah. Okay. So he brings you, if you want to do this, and just by the way, just a quick note about the time frame. So it took you probably, I would say it's taken you about an hour to go down, look at the stones, look at that, come up here. So it's not a huge island, but just between that and looking at stuff, it's been about an hour. So your guess is maybe 9 a.m. now, something like that. And it's brightened up a little bit, but certainly the sun is not peeking through. And so Edgar comes out and he's like, okay, so it'd be pretty far over this way. So let's go. And he like starts running, across the island.
Yeah, this time she doesn't run, but like she keeps, she's power walking behind him, basically trying to keep pace.
Behind you here, like as Rickmont is turned and like trying to now follow again. So he takes...
by the way, I guess at this point she would, once we pass by the hall again, she would tell Rickmont to just go back if this is too much for her.
Okay. And Rickmont sort of says, all right, I'll be in the hall if you need me.
Yeah, she tells, wait a second, where name? She tells Ibn Galib to deliver her to the hall.
So then you just have Aban with you, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Is the only one you have? Right,
correct.
okay. So, so you, Aban, and Edgar continue. When you get to this small stone, which is to the north side, so you're looking now, if you were to look south, you could see the wall right here, the northern wall that extends around. Oh, sorry, chat can't see that. Let me bring us here. Line must be drawn here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could see right now the the northern wall, of the sanctuary, of the Hermit sanctuary. And right here, you can see there is what probably would be best described as, it's almost like a kind of, hold on a second. Just a moment, my PDF is giving me grief. Hold on.
Computer says no. Time to hydrate.
Okay, 1 second, I almost got it.
Delicious. Refreshing water.
Oh, okay. Right. You find on this stone, there is what looks more or less like a, the shape is a little obscure, but it looks kind of like a cross, albeit a very odd looking cross. Almost like I guess the way I would describe it would be, have you ever seen like a Greek Orthodox cross, like that sort of thing? So it's like that, but there is
like with an extra bar, or what do you mean?
Exactly. Yeah, like with a bar, and then like, so you've got the cross, but then there's like a circle, right? Like around the bottom of the cross to represent light coming from the cross. It's like a halo around what the top of the cross would be. So let me see if I can draw it.
Woo! We get to see Greg draw.
Oh God, yeah. this is gonna be a joy. Okay,
for me,
so
it will be.
Cross, and then there's.
We still need to do the thing for one of the Gamebook illustration streams where I do the book and you do the drawing.
Jeez, like this. You see it on stream?
Yeah, I see it. Like
so
an Ankh, basically.
Yeah, like an Ankh, right?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Exactly. But there is one big difference to it, which is that it also has a. Let's get rid of that. There's also a chain that you can see, or at least it looks like a chain, like an interlinked chain around it on the drawing of this thing. And Edgar shows you a couple of stones that have the exact same picture of this strange-looking cross thing with a chain, hanging around the end of it.
Wait, sorry, strange-looking cross thing with a chain?
Right. That's what you see drawn on these stones that he brings you to. Like a couple of them. Remember I mentioned that there are a lot of stones that he said that the same image or the same picture. So it looks like etched into it is this cross with a chain. You think it's like either a necklace or an amulet or something, if you had to guess, Runesild.
Yeah, she turns to
Aban?
even Mundir. Can't use the first name because of weird medieval naming
Beg your pardon.
conventions. It's a thing.
So
Medieval
Ibn Mundir.
Arabic naming conventions are a headache. I tried so hard with these names.
Okay, so
at
then
some point I gave up.
So
but
Ibn
yeah, Ibn
Mundir.
Mundir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It would turn to him as like, does this look like anything to you?
And he kind of like peers at it and he says, it's got to be an amulet of some kind. You can see the chain. I have heard of some of this with this church, this new thing you've heard of. But this looks older than that. It looks though, he kind of like peers at it again. That could be light. Light coming from it or around it. Is
like
this
a mini lantern?
And he sort of looks at you and he raises an eyebrow and he says, like the thing we saw back in the graveyard. He was holding
but that person wasn't holding anything in their hand, were they?
No, they were.
Light
Yeah, no,
I
specified they were holding something, but you couldn't see it.
Maybe like a little mirror or something?
Could be.
It's like reflecting light.
It's not anything I know from any established religion, but it could be.
Yeah, she like takes a very close look and runs her hand over it, trying to check if this chain part of the engraving, if that matches the other part of the engraving. Like, think of it if somebody came in later and would have added something to it.
I see what you're saying. No, this does match. You think that this was done at the same time.
Yeah, then she would turn to Edgar. It's like, have you seen something like this before? And she points at the amulet thingy.
He says, I've seen it on some of the other stones, but I haven't seen it, like, besides that, I haven't seen it for real. Mm-hmm. It looks like it would be fun to wear, though. Maybe it's, like, got strange powers. Maybe it shoots out light, or, what did you say before? You called it a laser beam? That was really weird.
Would be really practical if you, like, needed to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, right? Wouldn't need a lamp to find your way?
And he kind of says, yeah. Or if you needed to keep from being eaten by a monster.
Sure.
Like
that too.
And for a moment, like, Ibn Mundir, like, exchanges a glance with you, since, of course, Runesild, he was the one that was on the ship when this all went down last night.
So have you seen any other cool stones, or do you want to show me the caves now?
Yeah, there's one more. This was just one of the ones that had all the same pictures. There's lots of stones that have this picture, but there's one more that's different. And see, he comes around.
Show me.
So he comes around this way. Now we're looking at about probably closing in on like maybe 9:45 or 10, just to give you a general sense of the time. Let's see if I can get us over here. I'm going to have to move this over so chat can see it. Again, many thanks to a certain prominent artist whose name rhymes with Blurry Bloons, who is responsible for making the awesome overlay that we're using today. Just saying.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. So right there. There we go. Okay, so that stone, which is a fairly sizable stone, on the other side, right here, right?
Like the entertainment on this island is outstanding. Everything is just stones. And here you have stone, and this one has stone.
And this is also a stone.
And if you look to your right, you will see a stone.
This one here, as you're sort of looking at it, you again see that same monster. So again, as a reminder to you and to chat, that monster there. But instead of seeing the monster either with light shining or whatever, the monster is lying on the ground. You don't know if it's either dead or asleep or something. And carved above it it's in a cave. So this is obviously, it's carved as if it's in a cave. And above, you see a bunch of people like the ones you see on this stone that are building a tower above this thing.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We know where the monster nest is. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you want to show me the tower next, maybe?
And he says, "Oh, yeah. That's actually some of the really cool caves are there, but..." And then he stops. He says, "It's And he kind of looks at you like earnestly with his eyes, like not quite fitting into the holes of the helmet. As he stares up, he says, "It's a little scary there."
But why would you be scared? You have a cool helmet to protect you.
Oh, I didn't mean for me. I wanted to make sure you and the man there is not scared.
Oh, we are not going to be scared with such a strong hero at our side.
And Ibn Mundir says, "That is true," kind of like slowly. And as Edgar sort of heads off to show it to you, Ibn Mundir pulls you aside for a minute and he says, "Runsild, it is your decision, of course, as to where we go, but are you sure it is safe to have this boy bring us to these places? If there is this beast that I saw last night, this boy would be no more than a morsel, and we would be the main course. Are you sure that this is the right path?"
We're not going to be going inside the caves. We are just checking where the entrances are. Don't worry.
And he sort of he kind of sort of nods slowly, and he says, "I suppose you know your business, but..."
I have a feeling that this creature does not like sunlight, or light in general. So I think we are safe. It will be fine! And she slaps him way too hard on the back.
And he nods, and you follow. So Edgar brings you over to...
Le tower.
Yes.
I don't know what tower is in French. Donjon? Is that it?
Oh God, I should know that.
Was it like a type of tower? I don't know. I know the word donjon exists. That's where the word dungeon comes from.
Yeah, but I think that's a specific kind of tower, though. I don't think that's.
It's like a turret, right? Like a wall turret.
Right, and I'm trying to think of like the. And I need to find it again.
You speak French.
I did actually. There was a time when I did.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. Okay. So, let me see. I believe... Let's see if I have the picture of this. I do. Okay.
Let's voyage to the donjon.
All right, I'm going to show you this thing. So...
Show me what? Where am I looking?
Give me just a second getting it now. So...
Where picture? Okay. Where thing?
We do this, and then we do this, and then we do that.
And a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Okay, so now let me put this on.
By the way, how much longer are we going? It's 10 before...
Yeah, we're closing in on the end. Probably about 10 minutes, I would say, would be my plan. I'm glad that things have stabilized with the internet. He said, knocking on wood.
Yeah, I think the storm stopped, so that helps.
That's good. I don't want to spoil it. Okay, as per usual, I've done
And
this way too
everything
large.
explodes.
Exactly. Okay, so now you should be able to see on stream what this looks like.
Okay, so on the regular map, the thing to the right has a roof on it. Is that just like taken out of this
That's
one
correct.
to like
This is
see
just a
inside
cutaway.
the building, or is
That's
that
right.
a roof?
That's right. This
Okay,
is just a
okay.
cutaway because he shows
But
you
the
the
tower
hut.
doesn't have a roof.
That's right, because he
That's just
shows you
walls.
the
Okay.
because he shows you the hut to begin with, because that's where he stayed when he found you in the first place. But yes, the inside of the tower looks like that pretty much anyway. It is as you get closer to it. There's a couple things that stand out here, Runesild. First of all, this ruin is of unfathomable age. It looks like it once had incredibly thick walls, like super super thick. And there was a staircase at one time that must have been set into them. And there's only one entrance that goes into the ruin, and you can see that there on the map, which is the one facing basically to the northeast. The doorway leads into a passageway. Now, just for scale, that passageway between the walls is 12 feet long. So you can do the math yourself. Basically, what that means is
Wait. The passageway is 12 feet long.
Long.
That is...
Which is like what? A meter is 3 meters, 3 feet, right?
I'll wait a second. 12 feet, you said, yeah? 12 feet in meter.
I think a meter is 3 feet ish.
No, 12 feet are 3.6 meters.
That's what I've said. About 4 meters, Effect Life said. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, okay.
About 4 meters. So big, thick stuff.
Thick boy.
Thick boy. So there's that. And inside it, when you are brought inside, which you can do, assuming you wish to do that, Edgar goes inside.
I guess would first want to have a look at the outside if there's anything of note to be seen on there.
So,
and listen in if we hear any telling monster slobbering noises.
Okay. Well, let's see. The outside over here, you can see that a lot of stones have been missing. And just judging by the fact that you see there's matted down grass and stuff like that there, it looks like the stone has been recently removed. And if you had to guess, this is where Frithger the builder has been taking all of the stone and bringing them to repair the wall. Because this stone does look like the stone that's been used to repair the wall. It's darker and older, as I mentioned before. That's the first thing to note, is that there's there. You can also see some wooden, what look like kind of props, like basically large beams, which are being used to prop up the walls, to kind of brace the walls. As the sort of stones have been taken away, you can see that some of the other stone has kind of fallen down around it. So the tower is still, the ruin here is still standing, but it definitely looks like it's slid down a little bit based upon the fact that the builder has been taking the stones out of the wall. So that's what the outside looks like.
Okay. Any engravings anywhere or something?
There is one of them, which is that as you look at the bottom of the stones, actually make a perception check for me.
Check 1, 2. That's a 10. Or alternatively, I'll take the 10.
Exactly, a 10 or a 10. I think that's probably enough because you're coming to it in the daytime. And also you've seen this before. You see it on one stone, and then you see it on a lot of stones, and then you see it on many stones.
Ooh.
The same image that you saw on those other little stones of that strange cross with the chain. Every one of these stones that you see has it carved onto it.
Like this weird Ankh-looking cross.
Right.
Interesting. All right. Even Mundia, have you ever seen this symbol? And she points at all of these.
And he says, Yes, I saw it about 15 minutes ago when we were on the other side of the island. And he grins.
I always wanted to find out how far a grown man could fly if I would toss him off a cliff.
You would never be able to find anyone to replace my humor. And he smiles at you.
Of course I wouldn't. Okay, but serious, before today, I mean.
No, but I will say, as he points at it, there is no reason to do this for decoration alone. It takes time to carve this.
Like to ward off something or to keep something in?
And he nods slowly. And Edgar says, oh, yeah, and actually, some of the new stones in the wall that Frithgar's making back at the hall, they have that symbol too.
I probably saw some of these while I was working on the wall, right?
And now that you think back to it, yes.
Mm-hmm. I see what's happening here. All right.
That's what you see on the outside of it.
I think I know what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, she steps through the passageway, gateway.
Yeah, that's the little.
To have a look
inside.
where the stones were taken away.
On the inside, you can see first of all that there are there's this little staircase that you can see inside there that you could actually climb up a little bit. But in the daylight here, because now we're almost to midday, you can see there are carvings on the inner walls of this thing. Carvings that are not just that same strange-looking cross thing, but there are other carvings on the inner walls of the ruin lining the central chamber. They're actually covered in decorative carvings, and they show robed figures, just like the ones that you saw battling the monsters, same kind of deal. But they are walking in procession. And as you kind of like work your way around the inside of the ruin, they have a variety of objects. You can see that they have like rings around their neck, and then some of them are carrying unusual scepters. This is all clearer, by the way, because obviously this has been protected from the wind, so it's easier to see, like the carvings. Some of them are carrying cauldrons, and a number of them are carrying serpents. And as you look, you can see that a couple of them are carrying this like strange cross that I mentioned, but a couple of them have the serpent kind of woven around the cross. And so you see that in a bunch of places. As you were sort of standing inside it, and everyone is a little quieter, like Edgar is even quieter here. Sure. Mm-hmm.
As soon as I spot the serpent, as soon as Runsel spots the serpent, she would reach into her pocket and pull out the pebble. Pebble that she got from Guy last time.
Mm-hmm.
That had a serpent engraved on it, and like checks back against it with if that matches at all.
It does look somewhat similar, yes. And when you're looking at it and looking at this sort of thing waving around, Ibn Mundir kind of like looks at it and then looks at the carvings, and he says, "We were not quite right then. This is a cross. It is a serpent's cross. And the serpent's cross is all over these stones. And now back at the hall."
Yeah.
And he kind of raises an eyebrow.
The stone that I'm holding. Where did I get island, or did I get?
Oh, you broke up. Oops.
And
You broke up. Say that again. Yep, you're here.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
You said, where did you get what?
The stone. Did I get that here on the island, or back before we left the mainland?
I believe it was given to you by Guy, if I'm not mistaken.
I know that much.
It was given to you, but I believe the stone might have originally come from the person who was singing the song, like who was telling the tale. Like they had received it from somebody else.
I see. Yeah, I'm trying to match the stone itself to the stone here. Is
the stone don't look? No, the stone does not look to be the same. The stone itself does not look to be the same consistency. But the stone itself does not seem to be the same consistency. But the drawing of it, like the carving of it, does look like the same as the one that you see on the walls.
Test,
Sorry.
test, test.
Did you get any of that? It broken down again.
The stone is of a different consistency, but the drawing is the same as on the walls.
That's right.
That's what I caught.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I just keep seeing your image freeze up.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
panicking.
getting from you too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm inspecting the spot where I assume Frithgar has been taking the stones out.
Okay.
So how big is that hole, and does it like break through the wall, or is it like an inner layer that's been taken away?
It does break through the wall, although the wall has not completely collapsed because of the prop, the wooden props that are up there. But it basically looks like there's been enough that's taken away to be able to like it looks like it's cutting into, like it's going to cut into the inner wall. But the thing that you notice is that you are able to see in the sort of crumbled stone that's here, you can see that there is now daylight. As you look around the tower wall, there is no daylight visible other than through the passageway, which looks like it was designed to be a passageway. Everything else in the tower looks contiguous, so there's no holes, there's no gaps anywhere but here. Where the builder has been working, there is visible gap from the air outside to the air inside. And Edgar, standing inside, looks up at it and says to you, "Well, that's probably okay, right?" And that's where we're going to bring our session to a close.
So the solution to the problem is stonemasonry. Outstanding. We are going to have to wield a bunch of huge stones around, I think.
Possibly, unless you think that maybe the damage has already been done.
Well, I mean, the damage has been done, but buildings can be repaired.
Oops, sorry. I accidentally switched
Especially
myself.
if you have a repairing builder.
That is true. That is true. That is quite the case. But I actually have really enjoyed watching you as you're sort of figuring this stuff out, like wandering around this island, and like figuring out like this. Yeah, it basically is like, well, because it's all this stuff where you're like, what is the deal with this? Oh, did you do that thing is that what you did to the Hermit Sanctuary? You changed the E? I was like, what are you doing with this thing? And then all of a sudden it became...
It's a Hermit Sanctuary.
How did you pronounce that now? How is it now?
A Hermit.
The Hermit.
Sanctuary.
The Hermit.
That's an Ö. That's a thing in like German and...
I see. This was
Swedish, I think. I don't know if it's a Danish and Norwegian. Like you write it differently in that one. That's like the O is the slash through, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an Ö.
Just to honor you, Tari, see who's come to say hi.
Oh, kitty cat. Hey, Pusje.
Let me,
Miezekatze.
Hey, bud. I'm going to show you off on stream.
Kätzchen.
Observe.
Observe. Ah, yes, classic. Cat does not want.
Oh, okay. He was like... Sherbert was
denied.
Yeah, Sherbert was like, listen, don't be showing me when I don't want to. I'm in a play mode. He may actually jump up there on his own. He's actually super affectionate cat, but he's like, I want quarter, do not want I want the quarter. That's very true. Anyway, so good stuff today though, Tari. I think that Runesild made some good progress in sort of figuring out what may be going on here.
Yeah, this was fun.
And also calculating like very different kinds of characters too that we've got in terms of the Provisioner, very different from your boy Frithgar. Different kinds of people.
I hadn't noticed, Greg. No, not at all.
Super different people.
Could be twins.
But it reminds me very much of like walking into a small town and being like, trying to figure out the relationships between everybody. Runesild is there. And then,
who's
of course,
dating who?
Yeah, that's right. And exactly. I can ship them. But then on top of that, you've also got the fact that Runesild lost a crew member, and I am curious to see how that's going to affect. Like, there was a little bit of grumbling, but Runesild was able to get over it with, everything's fine, and like slap someone in the back type of thing. But it'll be interesting to see how long that sort of thing will last, even with Runesild's, famous charisma. And so that was very interesting to me to watch Runesild kind of navigate her own crew in addition to what we've got of everything else. How did you feel about the session today? Anything stand out for you about your exploration of this island and where we'll find folks? See you next.
Well, I mean, like in regards to crew members dying. So basically, like death was just a lot cheaper back in those days, right? As they say,
That's
that
true.
like people just died way easier and way more often. So I think this would give people like a different kind of relationship to death than we have today.
Yes.
Not in the sense that like people wouldn't feel grief. It's just like people probably don't grieve as easily or aren't as aware of their grief, I would think. I mean, we obviously don't know, right? Making like at best educated assumptions here.
Right.
But
I mean, even
also,
from Beowulf, just to not interrupt, but just to say quickly, even the Beowulf, the poem, is constantly going back and forth between the kind of Christian, whoever found the poem and preserved it in a monastery and thus added a bunch of Christian stuff, and the fatalistic kind of pagan side about like, no man maintains like can take nothing with them, and therefore glory of the day and their legacy is their glory and all that stuff. Like it's fatalistic. So I agree with you. That's even from the writings. Of the
I mean, like that's like the whole Norse influence of that one, right? Like the whole like death cult thing.
Right.
Like that's like one way I've seen Norse religion been described as, like especially with Odin, that it's like basically just a death murder cult, which I think is such a good take. I like that take. It's like, okay, this is like a warmongering death god, effectively, which like people don't really talk enough about. So like what people don't know is that I'm actually also pagan myself, IRL. And like this is like one of the things where I'm like, one of the reasons why I don't like to debate and talk like actual religious beliefs with people, because I have a feeling that like a lot of people just look at like, oh yeah, this is like cool stuff, so this is like my beliefs now. I'm like, no, this is an awful like major patriarchic person who just warmongers and glorifies murder, and I don't know. This does not sound like the kind of person who deserves worship, really. So anyway, that got a bit dark for a moment, a bit real. Anyway, Runesild's beliefs is like basically that she like basically believes in like the fates, the three fates, sort of like a version of that. So like when somebody dies and it's like, okay, their time has come, right? It's like, yeah, okay, if they died now, then they were supposed to die.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's still sad, but it's like,
yep,
somebody had a plan here, I guess. Something along those lines. So I don't think that she would get too hung up on somebody dying unless she was like really close to them.
Right.
And depending on their relationship, like that's also a thing, right? I know, for example,
this is just crewman number 3. I mean, like, who cares about them?
Well, not like that. It's more like, even if like somebody's close to you, like the death might not affect you as badly. Like, for example, when my grandpa died when I was 16 or whatever, that did not hit me as hard, even though I really, really loved my grandpa, because he was like really sick beforehand. It was just like, oh, this is like a moment of relief, basically.
Yeah.
It's like he finally got to go. Meanwhile, when my other grandma died, 2 years ago now, I think, that really fucking hit me hard because of a bunch of reasons, even though I was like not nearly as close with her as I was with my grandpa. So it's like all relative, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
So yeah.
And also Runesild has work to be done. I mean, like, there's it's about saving the people that are still here on this godforsaken island, and figuring out what's going to happen with them one way or the other.
To be fair, she doesn't care about that too much. It's more about the glory of it.
Yeah, I understand.
Like she gets to kill a big monster.
I understand.
Death, fun stuff. Do not recommend. Wow, I got really, really dark there for a hot minute.
Hey, Div.
Right, game was fun.
It's good.
Right, bright sunshiny stuff. Was really fun to get like this silly kid stuff. Got to be silly with the kid.
Yes.
You know, that was a lot of fun. I hope I'm doing okay, having to basically fill in for an entire party of players instead of
No, absolutely,
just one character.
Absolutely, and it's interesting about how you've been like managing, where you send your followers, like where you go here, you go there, you go this way, and like which ones can help you with what stuff. That all is a part of the process too. And then also you're trying to figure out still you figured out more of the mystery. You now know there's definitely a monster. You know there's ways to deal with the monster, and you may have figured out what is going on that has sort of brought the monster, around again, and what's going on with that. So all of those things you're gradually picking up as you're exploring this place, and it'll be interesting to see when will she confront the monster. Will it be next time, Chad? We will have to see.
Will she actually? Because that's the thing. Like now we've gotten like a hint that it's like, hey, we could just basically literally wall this monster in, and it might not ever come out again, and let it be a problem for future people.
A future hero, that's the glorious thing. And then Runsil did build stone upon stone and was the builder.
Yeah, I feel that's a bit out of character. Like, I would do that, but Runsil probably wouldn't. She'll probably be like, hey, you fucking idiots, I guess somebody has to go kill this thing now, because this is just gonna stay a problem. So yeah, like, we'll see that next time, though, in roughly a month.
That's right, in a month.
Time.
We will be back here with Beowulf in 2 weeks with Tren's character as we pick up in the Three Ogre Brothers in Tren's adventure. But in the meantime, you are also going to see Tari next week, because you'll see Tari back here for Battle Blade Warrior as we do our game book illustration stream. And you want to announce one more time for the folks who weren't here at the beginning, maybe,
yes.
Tari, about your new thing.
Yes, I've been working on a tabletop RPG of my own, like a whole complete
TariToons
system.
PG, just to be clear.
Yes, of course. That completely fucking threw me off. God damn it.
That is not going to stop. By the way, I'm straight up telling you right now. That is going to be used all the time. The TariToons RPG system.
Oh, fuck's sake. Called Beasties in My Bag. That's what the name is. Based on Monsters in My Pockets, for those who remember. That one, like Greg, you probably remember Monsters in My Pocket, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, Monsters in Your Pocket? Is that what it was called?
Oh, I don't remember that, but I remember the Monsters in the Pocket stuff.
Yeah. So that's where I got the name idea from. Just think it's a cute little name for a cute little game. And like, yeah, it's like a point-buy based system where you play a monster, a human, and their like monster companion, in the style of like Pokemon, Digimon, Ni no Kuni, those kind of things. Monster Rancher, I guess I never actually played Monster Rancher. I only know the anime. Yeah, it's like designed to be like accessible for kids. That was like important to me very much, and like very little math to do, which means that for writing this I have to pre-do a lot of math so that people have to do less math when they actually play.
You're taking the hit for them. You are the true hero. You're the true MVP.
Yesterday and today I've been just doing like writing for like as rough estimated travel times in like both the imperial system and the metric system, and it's just like what do you call that? Dreisatz, when you like basically divide a number through 100 and then times whatever you wanted to match.
You've left me way behind with math. Like let's just start with that.
Math. It's basic math. Yeah. But I'm really, really bad at math. That's like my problem. I'm like really bad at this stuff. I'm like borderline dyscalculic. Yeah, that's just been driving me insane. But this table I will be able to use for any game I play from now on, not just this one, because this is like just based on real world stuff. Though most games don't have bullet trains in them, I think.
That's probably true.
So yeah, like very excited to showcase that once I have more to show for it.
I am too.
Currently, it's like mainly a Word document and some concept sketches,
Mhm.
and a bunch of spreadsheets. But yeah, I hope to put that into like a playtesting version soon that people can test out, to enjoy with friends and family. It would be nice to actually see some kids playing this game, because I did try to design this with kids in mind.
I think it's neat. I think it's like, as I said, I think it's a cool concept, and I am excited to feature it, and to have it on here. It'll be great. And so that's the
Very
basic
rambly,
big
that's
news.
because I'm tired.
Otherwise, they can find you where, Taria, online.
On Tumblr at TariToons, and also at Tari's Backyard, which is like my rambly blog where I don't post art. Everything else, like for example, updates on BCs in my bag for now. I should make a separate blog for that, I suppose. And also on Instagram and on Blue Sky, and also since yesterday on Ko-fi.
Oh.
Yes. People might remember that I used to be on Patreon, but like Patreon did not work out for me because it was just too much pressure and it was majorly depressing me and really bad for my mental health. So I just deactivated that by now, and I set up a Ko-fi now because that's just for people who are not familiar. It's like for making singular donations, instead of like setting up a whole subscription service where you then have to, or like are expected to hand out various exclusive content. Like that's not happening. I just set that up. So if anybody wants to throw me a little bit of money, can head over to my Ko-fi page at TariToons. The link is also on my website and on my Instagram. So you can find that there. To buy me a cup of coffee. That's why that's called that. So yeah, that's me.
Very cool. And Tari,
God, I'm tired. I'm really rambling.
Yeah,
Jesus.
well, now you can go get some sleep. But again, thank you.
Not that late.
Thank you, Tari, because this was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm really enjoying this, being able to do these sort of separate adventures. And I will see you back here next week for some game book illustration. Chat, can we get some
when
love?
Greg will draw, and I will lead the game.
No. So can we get some?
Set up a session for April 1st.
I will. You know what I might do for that actually would be one of those deals, like either as part of a subathon or part of a Patreon boost or part of something like that. Maybe one of the things will be. It will look ridiculous. You don't understand how bad. You do not get it. I draw like a 3-year-old would. I am a horrific.
That sounds like an amazing time.
I hope you like. The only thing I can draw is a peanut, so I hope that you are ready to.
Not even a potato. That's disappointing.
Nope, too circular or something.
Too circular.
But anyway, it was a great pleasure to have Tari with us. Tari, thank you, and we will have some back with us very soon. Thank you, Tari.
Bye.
Bye now.
Au revoir.
All right, and that is the amazing and awesome TariToons. Good stuff. I really have been enjoying doing this quite a bit, and I am excited to see where this goes. I like it when a system and a kind of adventure comes together, and when you can just sort of see as you're working on it, you're like, I see how this is going to click. And for me, it was today when Tari's looking around the tower, when Runestilled is looking around the tower, and then Runestild's like, I see what's happening. And I was just like, aha. It was, I really, no, you were fine, Tari. That was great. I really enjoy those kind of moments. And yeah, and I can't wait to see how all of this stuff works as we go forward here. But I'm going to rise up on out of here, though, because I am at the top of the hour going to be over on GOGCom's Twitch channel for my weekly Pen and Pixel show, and I'm going to be playing Dredge. Because sadly, I cannot get Tintin. I can't get through that QTE thing in Tintin. I really wish that I could. I have a brand new mouse, which is great and is working fine. I even tried to get a gamepad thing to work with it. It just doesn't work. So really irritating, really frustrating, but I'm not going to go down that road again, except to say it sucks. And they should have released a game that was that was able to be finished. I just frustrated. But otherwise, I am going to be playing Dredge, which is a game that works and which I have been having a lot of fun with. So I'm going to be doing that over on GOG.com's Twitch channel today. Then tomorrow night, remember, we will have the Shadow Crew with Waterdeep Dragon Heist. That'll be right here on this channel at 8 p.m. Eastern with the Shadow Crew, with Shadow Mage as your DM. And then I will be back on Thursday night with some Dungeon Siege. Also a reminder, this weekend on Saturday, I will not be streaming. I will be up in Boscone, and I will be doing some panel stuff and some readings. So if you're in the Boston area, would love to see you there. And then I'll be back next week. After Boscone's over, things basically settle down, and I'm going to be pretty much just here and going to work and teaching and hanging out with the family and doing all that stuff, basically all the way until we get to mid to late May when we have ArvCon coming up. And then after ArvCon's over, then we have the summer with the summer convention season and all that kind of good stuff. But that's not for a while. So so we're going to be hanging out here with all of you after Boscone this coming weekend. So excited for that. But I'm going to rise up on out of here. If you like what you saw today, please make sure to follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. And for those of you who were over on the YouTube channel today, thank you for watching over there. I hope you will consider subbing there, and I hope you'll consider stopping by our Twitch channel as well, as a couple of you did today. Also, we have a Discord, !ArvCord for that. Twitter, !ArvTweets. Blue Sky, !ArvSky. Now that Blue Sky is available to everybody without invite codes, definitely make sure to follow us over there. There's a number of Arvanauts, including yours truly, who is over on Blue Sky, so definitely make sure to follow us there. And the website for this, arvanelleron.com. Financially, !Arvtreon is the Patreon, which is sitting right there. The shop is !Arvshop. That's the merchandise area, which is really important as well. Let me see, Arvtreon for that. Subbing to the channel is always appreciated. We had a couple of people who did that today. Subbing to the channel really does help as well. Custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. And of course, we have our publishing stuff. Icarus for my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library is my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And Greyshade, that's my Grey Assassin trilogy. You can get Greyshade and Renegade and the audiobook of Greyshade from Trent Sparks, Greyshade and Renegade from Athos Arts, and myself. You can get those right now at that link. You can also pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade being designed by Brandon O'Brien. That'll be coming out from Alligator Alley. That's due out at the end of this year. And you can also pre-order Heretic, which is the final book in the Grey Assassin trilogy. I am working very hard on that. That'll be out in the summer of this year. The manuscript for that is just about done. So you can pre-order Heretic as well. I would love it if you did that. And BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now is the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message that we will do so for others in the future. Also, I realized I didn't show this to you all today, but I wanted you to see that I'm actually wearing a new jersey that I just got. That is a vintage jersey for the Venezia Football Club, Venice's football club. It's got this awesome winged, you can see right there, this winged lion right there, right? Which is winged lion is it's part of the iconography and so on in Venice. But I also like it because Corel is the city where the Greyshade, the first book, takes place of the Grey Assassin trilogy. And so it is roughly modeled, that city, on Renaissance Venice. So I saw this and I'm like, that's what we need. We need another winged lion in there. So, yep, Save Mark's winged lion. So very, very cool. So I was very excited to be able to wear this today. But that's gonna be it for me. I will see you folks in about 35 minutes up at GOG.com's Twitch channel Did I say I did say BLM? I did all that. So I'll see you at 4 p.m. Eastern on GOG.com's Twitch channel for Pen and Pixels and Dredge. Until then, I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream. Thank you to Triffity Mats for manning the fort on the mod side, as always. always, mods are the best in the business. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and subscribers, Triffid, Effect Life, Wispy Song, Divinorium, and Trendane, of course. And thank you to my viewers. Thank you to Zero Sophia. Thank you to Aqua. Thank you to Big Boss Black Fury Brahms. What's up, Brahms? Thank you to Gary. Thank you to Mark. And thank you to the other Mark. Thank you to Mr. Jonas, Regress, and Sakoki. Thank you so much to all the folks who watched today. And remember, you will have more Beowulf in 2 weeks with Tren and his character in this campaign. More of Tari's Beowulf character next month. But you'll get more of Tari next week as we do our gamebook illustration stream. But for now, I will see you folks later on today over on GOGCom's Twitch channel for Pen and Pixels and the amazing and awesome Dredge. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other, and bye for now. Then on the strand, with steeds and treasure and armor, their roomy and ring-dight ship was heavily laden. High its mast rose over Hrothgar's hoarded gems. A sword to the boat guard Beowulf gave, mounted with gold. On the mead bench, since he was better esteemed, that blade possessing heirloom old. Their ocean keel boarding, they drove through the deep, and Daneland left. A sea-cloth was set, a sail with ropes firm to the mast, the flood timbers moaned. Nor did wind over billows that wave swimmer blow across from her course. The craft sped on, foam-necked it floated forth o'er the waves, keel firm bound over briny currents, till they got them sight of the Geatish cliffs, home-known headlands. High the boat, stirred by winds, on the strand updrove. Helpful at haven the harbor guard stood, who long already for loved companions by the water had waited and watched afar.